The stars divided and fell into Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan's bodies. A malevolent bloody beast suddenly appeared in midair. Its blood-red eyes coldly glared at Su Xing. This was Sun Mainyang's star beast, the Scarlet Azura. Generally speaking, the majority of star beasts would fall into evil smiting hull following their master's starfall. However, there were also some star beasts that possessed higher levels of awareness that so long as they broke free of a star general before the fall, they could be safe and sound. This Scarlet Azura was clearly one of them. Its 4 strange arms seemed like long snakes that grabbed hold of Sun Mainyang and Zhang Zhao's star weapons, and then it escaped 1,000 li away as a streak of bloodlight. It was too late for the Su Xing who wanted to give chase but was currently surrounded by the intertwined branch swords. He could only watch helplessly as the Scarlet Azura stole the weapons and fled. Su Xing thought to himself that this was a pity. However, star weapons were only designated for star generals and star masters to use. They were but merely trash to the Scarlet Azura that had taken them. The intertwined branch swords returned to above Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan. The green bridge connected their minds, and it overflowed with life. The surrounding green leaves and vines successively dispersed. Zhao Hanyan groaned, storing away the sword chant. "Hanyan, are you all right?" Su Xing flashed to her front, supporting her with his arm. "You used that chaotic tail escape again?" Zhao Hanyan was aghast to see Su Xing covered in cuts all over his body. Her brows wrinkled. Before she had mentioned it, he was fine. Once she brought it up, Su Xing then felt grimacing pain. "Just now. In short, is nothing wrong with your body?" Zhao Hanyan's cheeks were colored like peach plums, entirely showing an attractive appearance. The 7 feelings 6 desires spice obviously was not that easy to get rid of. The Ling Yan princess stared at Su Xing. She struck a hand seal, and the intertwined branch sword's green light wandered about. The 2 swords intersected. The green bridge pierced their hearts, pouring spiritual power into their souls. Instantly, Su Xing and Ling Yan princess Zhao Hanyan were immersed within. Su Xing was amazed to sense that their spiritual powers were seemingly cooperating. In the endless green light, the wounds on Su Xing's body visibly rapidly healed, without even the slightest scar remaining. When Su Xing looked to Zhao Hanyan, the Ling Yan princess' pale complexion had already regained color. Her lovely red had already quietly retreated. The green light receded, and the intertwined branch sword then fell heavily into Su Xing's hand. This is the function of this intertwined branch sword? Su Xing could discern it. So long as each party is willing, this intertwined branch sword can apportion our life force. Zhao Hanyan glanced at Su Xing, noticing this man actually did not selfishly share life with her. Otherwise, she completely would have been unable to wield this consequence of the intertwined branch swords. So it turned out to be this. Su Xing exclaimed. He felt some regret. Sharing life force to recover each other's injuries was indeed very incredible, but the opposite party had to lose half of their star energy. Otherwise, it would have been comparable to Insuan's life returning magic hands. "Are you regretting that this princess is unable to let you cure that aphrodisiac?" Zhao Hanyan mockingly said. "This aphrodisiac plot is too melodramatic. Actually, I personally still hope for mutual consent." Su Xing righteously replied. Zhao Hanyan had an "who would believe you" expression. "The star nest has been sealed. Do you have any good ideas?" Su Xing asked her. "The star nest has been sealed?" Zhao Hanyan tested, and as expected, she could not hear Dong Juanqing's response. No wonder, to unexpectedly even have this sort of poison that can seal the star nest. I wonder how it can be cured? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Zhao Hanyan appeared to not take this seriously. Although the martial force of earthly stars is weak, the majority of spiritual energy-type star generals are among the earthly stars. They have talents and abilities that, if used appropriately, disposing a heavenly star is not impossible. This included gardener Zhang Qing. With her ability to grow some star nest-sealing medicines and such, this was not a hard problem. In Zhao Hanyan's perspective, this probably was the legendary nest stifling. During nest stifling, star generals and star masters would sever all contact. To cure this was very simple. Simply wait for time to pass. It appears this black turtle territory is indeed dangerous. This princess did not expect to encounter Sun Ernyang and Zhang Qing here. Zhao Hanyan muttered. Suddenly, the Ling Yan princess' eyes flashed with a clear light as she gazed at Su Xing. At this time, Su Xing was currently trying to rouse the beauties inside the star nest, and he did not see the ripple of pensiveness that flowed through Zhao Hanyan's eyes. Su Xing, this princess wishes to ask you a question. Zhao Hanyan pondered for a moment, and then she spoke. What question? Seeing there really was no way, Su Xing could only give up. Do you know where the significance of the star duels lies? Zhao Hanyan said in a low voice. What do you want to ask? Su Xing frowned. The final phase of Maiden Mountain Star Duels will have the 7 stars assembly, but there can only be one final victor, you must understand? You want to say that since there can only be one final victor, the rest must necessarily die in battle? Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyan affirmed. In other words, regardless of how close their relationship was, when the time came, things would be you die and I live. There absolutely was no second possibility. This was the karma of the past 1,000 years. Even the previous generation's overlord Wu Song was unable to avoid it. When Su Xing saw that Zhao Hanyan was serious, he thought for a moment. He also earnestly replied, Then since we have signed the 1,000-year contract, could it be we are to die together in the name of love at the very end? You wish to die together with this princess in the name of love? Zhao Hanyan's smile carried a slight charm. Are you so willing to part with your star generals? Do I have to make a choice about parting or not? Su Xing did not accept this. If you and I aren't enemies, then what about it? That Maiden Mountain will not sit idly by. Zhao Hanyan answered. Then that's it. There is obviously the third choice, break the rules. Su Xing smiled. Zhao Hanyan's mouth hung agape. Her heart was suddenly beat ruthlessly upon by something. Her chest tightened, choked into speechlessness. She gazed at Su Xing with eyes full of disbelief. Break the rules? She had never thought about this. More so, never had a star master ever dared to think about it. Zhao Hanyan wanted to say, arrogant, naive, courting death, and other words to strike down Su Xing, but when she saw Su Xing's careless expression, that hidden and rarely seen seriousness, the Ling Yan princess understood, this man was not lying. He is mad, he is truly mad. However, this princess likes it. Not knowing if it was the last vestiges of the 7 feelings 6 desires spice in her body causing mischief, Zhao Hanyan only felt her body grow hot and her heart pound endlessly. The Ling Yan princess delicately walked over to Su Xing, her manner universally charming. A virgin's delicate fragrance poured into his soul, provoking confusion. Just as Su Xing was feeling flabbergasted, the Ling Yan princess smiled sweetly. She gently hugged Su Xing's head and pulled it downwards. That medicine still has not completely been cured from this princess body. From now on, you are this princess man. In Su Xing's astonishment, Zhao Hanyan opened her mouth and kissed him, a tyrannical, hot kiss. The 7 feelings 6 desires spice that he was already close to suppressing after much difficulty once again made a resurgence following Zhao Hanyan's kiss. Young fire bubbled forth and burned across Su Xing's whole body. The Ling Yan princess' warm and fragrant bosom, her passionately entwining tongue, how could Su Xing control himself? Moreover, both of them who could sign the 1,000-year contract had good feelings toward each other. It could not be said that their minds were in psychic understanding, but at the minimum, their hearts could harmonize. In Su Xing's brief shock, he immediately still attacked. Both his hands stroked Zhao Hanyan's back. As he ravaged the Ling Yan princess' red lips, exchanging saliva, Su Xing tore open the lapel to Zhao Hanyan's palace dress. Her light purple exquisite bodice immediately was exposed, frankincense permeating the whole place, more arousing than those aphrodisiac panaceas. Su Xing's hand parted the bodice and grasped those jutting mountains, feeling the Ling Yan princess' formidable fullness. Zhao Hanyan's body restlessly squirmed, somewhat unbearable. This time, without the steadfast star's interference, the two of them could be said to be fishes back in the water. The palace skirt was peeled off. The Ling Yen princess' light purple silken underwear was embroidered with beautiful roses, her tempting curves completely visible. Beneath the half-transparent silk, Su Xing could slightly see the secret garden that lay underneath. Su Xing's mouth was dry, his yang fire burned, and his body swelled incredibly. Although the man in front of her had once embraced her naked body, even witnessing twice the scene of her and Dong Junqing engaged in lovemaking, it was reasonable to say that Zhao Hanyan ought to be accustomed. This time, however, they were nevertheless seriously treating each other sincerely. Zhao Hanyan was a bit bashful, her hands hastily hugging her chest to cover her light purple bodice. Her whole face blushed red as if it were aflame. She lightly bit her red lips. If in the future you dare flirt with other women, this princess certainly will not forgive you. Then isn't that too bad? Su Xing lifted his head. Shut up. Zhao Hanyan's body slightly shuddered. Although she had sex with Dong Junqing many times now, this was her first time with the opposite sex, after all. Just the masculine qi of the man before her sharply contrasting with Dong Junqing was enough to make Zhao Hanyan somewhat incessantly dizzy, ecstatic even more fiercely than before. Her underwear already had a wet mark. The Ling Yen princess pushed Su Xing to the ground, straddled and mounted him. Her hands wound around to her back and began to undo the thin knots at her neck and at the small of her back. Zhao Hanyan felt a flow of heat at the place where that evil thing of Su Xing's lower body touched her, only feeling that her whole body was limp and powerlessly about to collapse. Su Xing was already completely attracted by Zhao Hanyan's half-respectable and half-graceful seductive appearance. The knots were untied, and the bodice immediately fell loose. Zhao Hanyan bashfully went, one hand covering her fair and ample chest. "Turn away, you." Zhao Hanyan was left somewhat at a loss of what to do by Su Xing's hot gaze. Su Xing smiled. He rose and felt past Zhao Hanyan's arms. Zhao Hanyan gasped in surprise. Her tender breasts stood erect, full of well-proportioned beauty. Her light pink color was charming and arousing, making Su Xing's blood vessels swell at the sight. He opened his mouth and greedily sucked them. This kiss nearly sucked away all of the strength in Zhao Hanyan's whole body. The Ling Yen princess' hands grabbed Su Xing's head, the expression on her face one of both pleasure and pain. Her underwear was gently pushed past her knees. Below her snow-white belly was a black and mesmerizing underbrush. That place of fragrant and luxuriant bush truly made him feel excited and itched to immediately peel that underbrush open, to peep into the mysterious place that allured his soul. Her snow-white and gracefully curving slender legs and her perfectly round and jutting but both brimmed with an elasticity. How could Zhao Hanyan's sensitive places stand such provocation? An electric current passed through her whole body, and she could not help but moan. "Wifey Hanyan, I'll come in?" Su Xing maintained the last bit of reason. Zhao Hanyan's amorously glanced at Su Xing suddenly. She flipped her body and swapped their positions, the man on bottom and the woman on top. With a red face, she said, "This princess does not wish to be squashed beneath you. This princess will come conquer you herself." 6. To Zhao Hanyan's slight arrogance, Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyan's hands trembled. Staring at Su Xing, she slowly sat down. The Ling Yen princess' brows knit tighter and tighter the deeper she penetrated. It was just like her narrow valley was being pierced by a fiery, sharp sword, incredibly painful. Fortunately, the moisture of her boundless sea alleviated the heat. So painful, this princess cannot anymore. Zhao Hanyan's brows were tightly furrowed, showing she was afraid. However, at this time, he already could not help her. Su Xing's lust flowed like a deluge. He grabbed the girl's waist, suddenly and forcefully straightening his back. There was a cry signifying the end of purity. Zhao Hanyan's eyes were full of tears. Both painfully and joyfully she cursed, "Lord husband, you shameless pervert," and then she welcomed her lord husband's revenge attack. Although Zhao Hanyan wished to use the top position to conquer Su Xing, in the end, she still had no way to contend against the feelings of her body. She obediently stuck her supple butt up in the shameful position that the arrogant princess did not detest at all, concluding this deep intimacy. Although the Ling Yen princess enjoyed Su Xing's attacks, her mouth still cursed him. after several torrents of his river poured into her valley. Zhao Hanyan had already lost all her strength, not wanting to lift even a finger, and the life of the giant vines that the intertwined branch swords formed enveloping the two was increasingly bright. The aura of the life force endlessly poured into the swords. Su Xing sensed that the intertwined branch swords were even more powerful. Hanyan. Su Xing lay on top of Zhao Hanyan's body. He stared into her bashful eyes. "What are you doing?" Zhao Hanyan panted. Su Xing wanted to speak, but he stopped. He had no need to speak aloud sweet talk to express his tender feelings. He lowered his head and kissed her. Zhao Hanyan closed her eyes and savored him, her body pandering to him. She lost track of how many times her soft and elastic body had made Su Xing react. "You can't?" Zhao Hanyan had a nervous appearance of powerlessly catering to his happiness. Dual cultivation arts or whatever were fine, but in the case it made Su Xing's desire open, he would be even more intense. "From now on, don't polish mirrors with Dong Junqing. As if this princess would promise you." Zhao Hanyan harumphed. "Really?" Su Xing made an evil grin, spreading Zhao Hanyan's slender legs open into an M shape. 8. The Ling Yan princess panicked. "Su Xing, don't. The star nest will recover right away. This princess will promise you, all right." "Haven't the star nests not recovered yet?" Su Xing chuckled, once again tightly embracing her. Zhao Hanyan's brows wrinkled. A familiar fullness filled the inside of her body. During its slow movements, Zhao Hanyan once again moaned, cursing him with the two words, "So shameless." The sun rose in the east. The first rays of dawn's glory sprinkled upon the sea, dispersing the darkness. Zhao Hanyan stood on the shore, gazing into the distance. Passing through a night of pandering to him and even his wantonness just now, the Ling Yan princess somewhat hurt. Fortunately, she was a supercluster cultivator. She could very quickly recover from this bit of pain. It was just about time for the star nest to recover its connection. "Princess! Master!" Yan Yizhen, Gong Sun Huang and Dong Junqing emerged from the star nest in succession, anxiously crying out. "I'm fine." Su Xing consoled them, summarizing the matter of Sun Mainyang, naturally leaving out the dubious plot points that occurred along the way. Never expected to encounter gardener Zhang Qing. Dong Junqing was grave. "Your Highness, from now on, little Huang will not enter the star nest." Gong Sun Huang floated up and landed on Su Xing's shoulder, blinking. Su Xing smiled. "Great, there's only a feeling when I'm with you." "Princess, are you truly unhurt?" Dong Junqing suspiciously eyed Zhao Hanyan, noticing that she apparently became somewhat different from before. A slight flirtatiousness was now seemingly in her respectable attitude. Dong Junqing's brows wrinkled, and then she looked to Su Xing. "Junqing, you need not worry. If this princess was not willing, could that man be able to bully this princess?" Zhao Hanyan's words had a double meaning. If he dared to do something to Princess Highness, Dong Junqing's words expressed killing intent. "Junqing, do not always be like this. You also know I have the 1,000-year contract with Su Xing and are even considered a married couple. Junqing, you ought to be very clear about the meaning since Hanyan brought him to go meet the Lingdong Countess." Dong Junqing was silent. "All right, speak no more of this. In the future, we must be more careful about the Black Turtle territory. The devil sects are numerous in this place, their evil techniques emergent. We cannot be careless." Zhao Hanyan smiled. However, forgive Junqing for speaking forthrightly, Su Xing is a star master, after all. Princess and he will become enemies in the end. Junqing also asks Princess to go quickly see the Bright Moon Longevity Palace to obtain the Tears of Vega to remove this contract. The steadfast star was stern, not kidding at all. Hanyan has her own propriety. Zhao Hanyan was expressionless. A moment later, "Wife, are we setting out now?" Su Xing said. Hearing this wife address, Dong Junqing's brows rose, yet she did not say more. To think of addressing this princess as wife, you must first pass that father-emperor checkpoint. Otherwise, however you flaunt your tongue, this princess certainly will become hostile. Zhao Hanyan's expression flirtatiously admonished him. Su Xing was not to act recklessly. If he actually provoked Dong Juanqing's jealousy, that would not be good. Su Xing chuckled, nodding. Their flying swords shook, immediately soaring into the sky, flying towards the far north of the Black Turtle territory. Connecting heaven ancient tomb, the 7th floor. An enormous rumble. A lion-like, tiger-like tomb-guarding beast slammed itself over. Yuan, careful. Wu Xinjie shouted in alarm. Elder sister, watch this. Shi Yuan chuckled. Roar! The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's heaven-shaking roar once again undulated through the mausoleum, shaking the tomb's dust into chaotically scattering. Shi Yuan's silhouette ran at high speed through the tomb's corridor, practically faster than wind. The aggression of the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast behind her probably could be rated as fierce, untouchable from head to toe. Shi Yuan's speed was not one bit inferior to the lion-tiger king. Seeing that it was a bit unable to keep up, this tomb guardian immediately spread its wings. They appeared to be made of stone, but with a flap, it unexpectedly took flight. Shi Yuan leaped, landing to the side with several somersaults. The hoodwinking flying claws interwove like a net, blocking the tomb guardian's sneak attack. When Wu Xinjie saw, she immediately scuttled to the front of the door to the connecting heaven ancient tomb's 7th floor. She fixed her eyes on the inscription upon the door, pondering the mechanism to open it. The connecting heaven ancient tomb deserved to be named one of the legendary 7 great ancient tombs. The dangers of the 7 floors were consecutive and layered. Each door had a tomb guardian and an extremely difficult mechanism. As long as she could solve the mechanism, she could open the door. The gate mechanism before her was considerably bizarre. In the middle of the 2 door panels was carved countless characters. These characters were pistons that could be pushed in. When Wu Xinjie saw this, she knew that the characters on the gate were the mechanism to unlock this gate. Looking again to the mystery of the inscription, there was only one sentence upon it. Please think twice, sir. You must open door. You must open door? In other words, if we fail even once, things would be troublesome? Wu Xinjie frowned. She had heard of many theories of mechanisms that if they failed, they would encounter a formidable tomb mechanism, even possibly starfall. For one like the connecting heaven ancient tomb, Wu Xinjie believed this was certainly so. Gritting her teeth, Shi Yuan waved a banner. She could only release one of the 7th rank puppet beasts that she was so proud of. Go! The 7th rank puppet beast was crushed to pieces by several smacks from the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast. Shi Yuan wept without tears, for it was too useless. Roar! The lion-tiger beast pounced towards the girl. Just at this moment, a ray of white light struck it. It is better to allow Hua Shui to take over. The 9-tailed spirit fox Hua Shui unfurled her beautiful 9 tails, blocking in front of Shi Yuan. The best thief under heaven was endlessly moved. The 9-tailed spirit fox's powerful presence made this tomb-guarding beast feel a trace of dread, but the tomb-guarding beast merely hesitated for a moment, immediately pouncing. Careful, those claws are very powerful. Even my 7th rank puppet was unable to withstand it. Shi Yuan hastily warned. Bang, bang. Sounds as if a heavy hammer was striking iron resounded. Hua Shui let out a charming laugh, somewhat disdainful. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's sharp claws continuously and frantically fell like raindrops upon her. An ice-cold aura unfurled from its limbs, firmly trapping the 9-tailed spirit fox's body without the least bit of relaxation, untiringly attacking the objective that perhaps was already crushed. The berserk attack stirred up great amounts of dust that filled the entire place. In the air, a beam of light shone on her. Emitting a dazzling white light, Hua Shui was calm and graceful, like a queen. She allowed her opponent to carry out its frantic attack. This sort of attack speed and power made Shi Yuan tremble in fear. However, immediately after seeing Hua Shui was very calm and unperturbed, she also calmed down. Mournfully bellowing, Hua Shui suddenly broke free of the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's attack, shooting out several dozen fox fires. These fox fires were like chains that whooshed and shot over to shackle the tomb-guarding beast. Although its body was bound by every sort of oppressive binding, that did not mean it had lost its ability to attack. The tomb-guarding beast let out a low roar, and an ice-cold shadow burst out from its mouth, pouncing for the Hua Shui just within its reach. The shadow suddenly wrapped around Hua Shui's body. Elder Sister Xinjie, will something bad happen to Hua Shui? Shi Yuan quickly scuttled to Wu Xinjie's front. Watching the tomb-guarding beast with some lingering fear, this connecting heaven ancient tomb's 7th floor tomb-guarding beast was this powerful. The next few floors still did not reach the main hall. The thief star was somewhat worried. Hua Shui can manage. Wu Xinjie self-confidently replied. Since she said so, Shi Yuan could only watch. After her grief was torn to shreds, the shadow dispersed at the same time. The tomb-guarding beast that was about to prepare for an unbridled roar of victory was stunned. It was amazed to discover the whole body of the 9-tailed spirit fox before it glowed with a silver-white and crystalline luster. In the blackness of the tomb, she emitted a sparkling light, and even Shi Yuan could not help but be astonished upon seeing it. A stone beast dares to be unbridled. Hua Shui laughed. She hissed, and her figure flashed. Once again, she fiercely attacked the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast. At the same time she exploded with white light, Hua Shui flipped backwards to retreat, its nimble movements allowing it to dodge the tomb-guarding beast's counterattack. Her body drew a beautiful arc in the air. Hua Shui stopped in midair, suddenly unfurling her 9 tails. A fist-sized fox fire ignited in the darkness. Hit where it hurts. Although the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast was made of stone, that did not mean it was without weakness. Countless fox fires descended. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast roared. At the same time, it spat out a shadowy storm, unexpectedly churning the 9-tailed spirit fox's foxfire to bits. Hua Shui's whole body in the air was like a bolt of white lightning, or perhaps using thunderclap was a more appropriate word to describe it. Hua Shui's silhouette of imposing thunder was glimpsed for no more than an instant when it already was completely unclear. Only a wildly revolving tornado was visible rolling in the air, violently attacking the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's figure. Shi Yuan watched, stunned. She completely did not know what movement Hua Shui made, however, that shocking aggression was just like a giant fox flying in the air, mercilessly biting the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's head. The hard sculpture unexpectedly gave rise to a kind of feeling of it being torn apart alive. It was visible to the naked eye. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's figure was chewed on by the Hua Shui-shaped giant fox, currently having a large hole getting carved out of it. An ear-piercing chafing and ripping sound resounded in the sky, and even a monster like the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast that had no will felt pain. It opened its mouth wide and let out a shrill shriek. The painful action passed in an instant. In the enormous shriek, the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast finally recovered its ability to move. First, it attacked the giant fox that was still biting it. The shadow of deterrent that the attack alone brought already rolled up the surrounding tornado. The winter snow shuddered violently because of its attack, the might within visible. An enormous rumble. Shi Yuan covered her ears, shouting, "Elder sister, just what is this 9-tailed spirit fox star beast? Why is it so powerful?" Wu Xinjie glanced over and shook her head. Historical data pertaining to the 9-tailed spirit fox was completely unwritten, however. To be able to draw out the 8 gates black gold chain, it could be seen that it was anything but ordinary, let alone that the 9-tailed spirit fox was more intelligent than they had imagined. "Elder sister, is the mechanism not done yet?" Shi Yuan asked again. "This mechanism is somewhat thorny." Wu Xinjie sighed. "Perhaps we are powerless against the connecting heaven ancient tomb." Furthermore, Hua Shui and the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast were locked in battle. After a great jolt, the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast appeared to already be injured. It howled, holes of damage already appearing in its head, looking fierce and monstrous. However, these did not count as much to it. Hua Shui still was that relaxed. Its 4 limbs were graceful, leisurely trotting about. Roar. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast furiously roared, like an actual giant beast, its breath rapidly condensing, inflating. Its body seemed to also possess a wild animal's qualities. It continuously let out a stifling, low roar, arched its body and fiercely pounced at Hua Shui. They were full of a feeling that seemed as if the entire space had been ripped apart. The entire cave practically became the world under the tomb-guarding beast. Its body incessantly emitted a cold air that made Shi Yuan basically incapable of drawing near. If the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast had used this aggression from the start, that would be awful. Worthy of being the 7th floor's tomb-guarding beast. The sharp shadow turned into its violent weapon. Slave has played enough. Now, to send you on a journey. Hua Xue's pupils were alluring. They shot out cold light, and her figure immediately flashed. Like a single tree leaf floating in a surging ocean, Hua Xue this instant completely showed the 9-tailed spirit fox's kingly might. A pair of eyes more transparent than crystal, and her pupils seemed to be full of a piercing ice-cold and countless flying ice fragments. The 9 tails unfurled like clumps of ice. The tomb-guarding beast's keen attack always missed by a hair's breadth. The sharp tip it brought nevertheless not even drawing near Hua Xue. Its powerful anger's repeated attack exchanges merely had large clumps of lifted dust, yet it was unable to touch the original target. Although its movements already reached the limits of what it could accomplish, it nevertheless still was not the least bit useful. Abruptly stopping its body, a chafing and ear-piercing sound entered their ears. The tomb-guarding beast's enormous body already forcefully stopped. Immediately after its body stopped, the countless shadows on its body seemed to instantly shoot out like dark weapons. The ear-piercing scream of air being torn apart filled the air. The densely packed shadows covered all of the spaces that Hua Xue could dodge to, completely without any blind spots. Along with the launch of the shadows, its mouth once again opened wide. The light ball within the pitch blackness was shockingly before their eyes. Its eyes exploded with cold light, and then Hua Xue truly moved. A bolt of white light flashed past the black shadow. Hua Xue passed through the tomb-guarding beast's imposing air and nimbly walked to Shi Yuan and Wu Xinjia's front, as if she had just finished a stroll. So incredible! Shi Yuan exclaimed. Slave has put on a shameful display. Hua Xue deferentially crept. When she finished, the tomb-guarding beast's whole body disintegrated. Shi Yuan suddenly yelped. When the tomb-guarding beast shattered, a piece of gem entered her eye. Rather than say it was a gem, it was better to say that it was a transparent flame, puppet spirit. Shi Yuan was overjoyed at the unexpected sight. Puppet spirits were a type of puppet beast, but they were far more powerful than a soul. Possessing a bit of intelligence, and even more importantly, a puppet spirit did not require any materials to pass through refinement. It would automatically produce a puppet. The strength would vary, and a weak one was perhaps a rat. A powerful one could possibly be a holy beast. The mechanism book recorded that there once was a mechanism great master that used a puppet spirit to refine a holy beast, which could be said to be frightening. No wonder it's so powerful. Shi Yuan happily thought. Obtaining this puppet spirit, even if they departed the connecting heaven ancient tomb this moment, she would not have any regrets. Master, have you met with trouble? Hua Xue. And this mechanism is not easy to break. Wu Xinjia hesitated indefinitely. Without Su Xing, her heart always seemed to be missing something. If you can't do it, forget about it. Elder sister, having a puppet spirit is a very good harvest. Shi Yuan consoled. Oh, do you wish for Hua Xue to help master? You know the secret of this mechanism? Wu Xinjia could discern the implications. Hua Xue nodded. How is it broken? Master needs only to press the character open, tin, on the left door and press the door, 11 character on the right door. Hua Xue observed, and then it respectfully spoke. Open door. 12, Wu Xinjia was stunned. Looking again to that mystery, please, sir, think twice, you must open door. You must open door, you must open door, she immediately guffawed. It was unexpectedly this simple. Xinjia truly was careless. That is because elder sister Xinjia feels that the connecting heaven ancient tombs mechanisms are very profound. Su Xing said so before. Some tombs that show more complex mechanisms are more easily able to fool people. He said this is a person's blind spot. Shi Yuan comforted her, although she did not know what blind spot 13 meant. Wu Xinjie nodded, smiling. Indeed, it is so. Next, Wu Xinjie consecutively pressed open door on the left and right gates. As expected, the gate immediately rumbled open. Let us go. This ought to be the end of the connecting heaven ancient tomb? Wu Xinjie smiled. Suddenly, Shi Yuan sensed a chill come from behind, causing her limbs to shudder from the ice cold. She turned her gaze over. Yuaner, what is the matter? Wu Xinjie asked. It seems there's something watching us. Shi Yuan's heart had a somewhat unclear premonition. She immediately forced a smile. It's probably some vengeful ghost that old tombs always have. This young lady was oversensitive. And let us go for now. Shi Yuan smiled. N. Some time after, as the thief star had sensed, not long after they left, a woman with long hair reaching past her but looked at that hidden gate and showed a ruminating smile. Puppet spirit, truly a good thing. Master, shall we make a move now? A voice appeared in her ocean of consciousness. No need. Just let the knowledge star show us the way. Understood. The tall figure hid, suddenly disappearing into the darkness, a tranquility without any waves. After the two of them came together, each of their powers increased greatly. The intertwined branch swords rolled up Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan, and flying for 6 days, they pierced through the 1,000 seas and islets to arrive at the Black Turtle territories far north. Before them were 2 islands. These islands appeared somewhat strange. In Su Xing's perspective, they jutted out like a bra. 14. The islands were pervaded with thick fog, a dead atmosphere. Due to it already being close to the deepest parts of the Black Turtle Sea, there was no sign of anyone here and now. The island was unlike the towns they passed that brimmed with vitality. Han Yen, this place isn't bad to become our immortals' abodes. Su Xing sized the place up. The environment was very quiet, which was suitable for cultivation. The important thing was that these 2 islands had the spiritual power necessary to open an immortal's abode, which made Su Xing's heart delighted. The Black Turtle Territory's islands were numerous, but the ley lines abundant in spiritual influence had long been partitioned away. However, we must first clean the place up. Zhao Hanyan smiled. Su Xing felt her smile was increasingly charming. Indeed. Su Xing also smiled and nodded. The pair each sent out bolts of star energy. With a boom, the earth quaked, and the sea waters surged, dispersing the mist. There was a shrill screech. Several dozen half-man, half-fish demon beasts with wings flew out. Besieging them in a circle, they cut off the intruders in the air. Loudly shouting, this perhaps could not count as a blockade. Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan had long already reached maximum charge. Do not use your star generals. Shall we see who can be first to finish cleaning? Zhao Hanyan provocatively glanced at him. Immediately, she controlled her flying swords to attack. A passionate kiss from the loser? Zhao Hanyan rolled her eyes at him. Su Xing did not hesitate either. The first half-snake, half-fish demon beast to appear bore the brunt of his attack. Let alone that their appearances were eerie, their pouncing speed was abnormally fierce, just like a gust of wind. Furthermore, this half-serpent, half-fish demon beast's assault ignited the bugle horn to attack. The dozen half-serpent, half-fish demon beasts arched their bodies and threw themselves over. Su Xing actually did not fear these guys. The 24 flying swords immediately flew out and attacked in a clump. These half-fish, half-bird, half-serpent demon beasts were killed into pieces, but more and more monsters rushed out. Some broke free of the sword net, pouncing to Su Xing's front. They waved their fish tails, raising a tyrannical strength. Su Xing kicked. His first kick landed on a half-serpent, half-fish demon beast, unexpectedly a bit unable to jolt it. Only when he increased his strength did he barely kick this organism flying. The other 10 at this time also pounced. Su Xing flashed away. His silhouette suddenly paused, and an enormous boom resounded in the air. Immediately, like an explosion, already shooting across the 10 zhang of space like a cannonball. While still in midair, Su Xing already spun like a top, countless purple mansion immortal thunders bringing severe whistles as they flew towards these demon beasts. Bang bang bang. The dozen half-bird, half-serpent demon beasts were all sent flying. Stopping, Su Xing surprisingly felt that his star energy had been considerably depleted. These demon beasts are known as fish eagles, very adept at eating star energy. Zhao Hanyan's voice floated over. When Su Xing heard, he aimed and rushed at a half-bird, half-serpent demon beast, crossing over the distance instantly with an escape technique. First of all was a heavy punch, and then there was a series of violent attacks. That half-bird, half-serpent demon beast wretchedly wailed. The next second, Su Xing already arrived before another several fish-eagle beasts. His flying swords became a grinding storm that unstoppably killed them. Finally, he used another purple mansion immortal thunder to destroy them. These fish-eagles very quickly were dashed and scattered, and following their scattering, they fled completely away. "You are somewhat slow, Lord Husband." At this time, the long already done cleaning Zhao Hanyan mockingly assessed him. "Ladies first," Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyan was speechless. Zhao Hanyan looked at an ancient jadeite tree in front of her. Its branches and leaves were luxuriant, a glistening emerald green. Suspended in the dense leaves was a sparkling fruit. That fruit was completely green, its spiritual power pressing. If someone with a discerning eye saw this fruit, they definitely would be astonished. This Bodhi fruit was the seen once every century and priceless. To Buddhism, it was a treasure second only to Saraira. Zhao Hanyan sighed, not showing any delight at this Bodhi fruit. On the contrary, she was a bit regretful. Using one day's time, Zhao Hanyan opened in the Black Turtle territory her second purple star outlaw Yangshan Immortal's abode. With a heart full of expectation for the priceless materials that grew within, this Bodhi fruit actually made Zhao Hanyan feel pity. Although the Bodhi fruit was good, only those with the Chan Buddhism would be delighted. To go barter would inevitably involve many twists and turns. Forget it, taking it to the treasure feast for a trade would be pretty good. Zhao Hanyan picked the Bodhi fruit. At this moment, a pair of gentle hands hugged Zhao Hanyan from behind. Caressing the Ling Yan princess back, the hands then entered her clothes. "Junqing, don't," Zhao Hanyan moaned, yet her hands pressed on the hands that were upon her chest. Dong Junqing spoke beside her ear. "Princess has opened her second immortal's abode. Would it not be better for us to be intimate here? So that our trip to the Black Turtle territory would not be in vain." As she said this, her hands already covered Zhao Hanyan's towering breasts, rolling the bit of protrusion at the tip between her index and middle fingers. Zhao Hanyan enjoyed this, turning her head back and kissing Dong Junqing. One of Dong Junqing's hands at this time already stretched down into the Ling Yan princess hidden valley. Zhao Hanyan abruptly sobered up. Her hands pushed, and she broke free of Dong Junqing's embrace. "Do not, he is still here." Zhao Hanyan's face wore shyness and determination. Dong Junqing was considerably annoyed. "Princess Highness, do we still need to mind what he does when we are inside this immortal's abode?" "Junqing, now that the star duels have already passed through the third phase, we should not continue doing this," Zhao Hanyan seriously said. Dong Junqing's face chilled. "Princess Highness, what did that man say to you? This is unrelated to Su Xing. Did nothing actually happen to you too?" Dong Junqing grinned evilly. "Regardless of if something happened to him and I, Junqing, so long as you know that this princess's heart is clear as a mirror for these star duels, that will do." Zhao Hanyan replied. "Your servant shall now go kill him." Dong Junqing lifted the dragon and phoenix yin-yang spear, taking up a stance about to leave the immortal's abode. Zhao Hanyan did not stop her. Her expression was extremely indifferent enough that she did not need to utter a single word to make steadfast Star General of Double Spears Dong Junqing to unwillingly retract her killing intent. Zhao Hanyan softly smiled. She walked over and tenderly caressed Dong Junqing's face. She gently said, "If Junqing can set down her prejudice, Su Xing is not so unlikable. Otherwise, how would Wu Song and Lin Chong accompany him? Could it be Princess wishes to gift your servant to be a part of his harem?" Dong Junqing mockingly said. "Junqing, this princess would certainly hate to do so." Zhao Hanyan kissed her. For that man to have her alone was enough. This instant, Zhao Hanyan ended the kiss. Suddenly, a message was left from the direction of the Azure Dragon territory. The Ling Yen princess wrinkled her smoky brow. This princess never thought that it would begin at this time. Is it the Bright Moon Longevity Palace? Dong Junqing was delighted. She truly itched to quickly dispel the contract between Zhao Hanyan and Su Xing. In her perspective, it was precisely this strange 1,000-year intertwined branch's secret influence that made Zhao Hanyan become more and more like a married couple with Su Xing. It was truly damnable. No. Zhao Hanyan softly chuckled. However, Empress Was Divine Palace is not bad either. Inside the other of the Bra Islands, Su Xing opened an immortal's abode. The purple star jade pendant was able to link all of the immortal's abodes. By doing so, after Su Xing opened the second immortal's abode in the Black Turtle territory, he could reflect the Azure Dragon territories. The Insuan and Tang Lianxin, currently refining medicines and tools inside the immortal's abode, sensed the second immortal's abode, and following the swaying of divine intent, they appeared inside the Black Turtle territory's immortal's abode. Both sides reunited elatedly. Only then did Su Xing go see the precious materials inside the immortal's abode. Compared to the life-extending flat peach of the first time, this fruit opened this time was named Purple Immortal Radish, too, which made Su Xing extremely disappointed. This kind of purple immortal radish outwardly appeared beautiful, like a delicate fairy. What was the same as its appearance was that this purple immortal radish was precisely to be given to female cultivators to use. It was of great benefit to yin energy and the like. It's actually suitable to be sent to Zhao Hanyan. Su Xing muttered. Zhao Hanyan had lost her virginity and just so happened to need this fruit to recover, and this fruit could count as his bit of concern. Just as he was prepared to consider going out, from outside the immortal's abode came Zhao Hanyan's call. Su Xing took a stride and immediately left the immortal's abode. The Zhao Hanyan, dressed in simple and elegant purple palace garb, was quiet outside the door. Her slender body was elegantly highlighted without match by the silk fabric, which made Su Xing unable to help but recall the absolutely beautiful body covered underneath those clothes. However, how could Su Xing have not known that Zhao Hanyan would suddenly become so willing was not because of the golden opportunity brought by the sealing of the star nests. In the future, perhaps these two would not have this sort of chance to be intimate. Zhao Hanyan glared at Su Xing. This man truly could not conceal anything. The bare desire in his eyes was too direct. Recalling the attacks of that night, the Ling Yen princess felt a flow of warmth surge inside her body. This is bad. This princess is a little wet. 3. Have you finished opening your immortal's abode? Zhao Hanyan promptly shifted her own attention. Hanyan, what are you preparing to do next? Su Xing asked her. The Black Turtle territory had many priceless treasures under heaven. The aquatic demon beasts were all a major distinguishing characteristic. Many strange materials often could be found in the Black Turtle territory. Su Xing was preparing to go seek the Zhen Wu Divine Iron. This princess has just obtained information from the Azure Dragon territory. The Palace of Empress Wa has already opened, and the 10 great sects are preparing to join hands to go to the Palace of Empress Wa. Su Xing, how about we go together? Zhao Hanyan gracefully smiled. The Palace of Empress Wa? Su Xing seemed to have heard Wu Xinjie once mention this was one of the legendary 7 great ancient tombs. In every generation of star duels, there were also countless ruins outside of the 5 great phases. Most of these ruins required a star general's star crest in order to enter. These ruins and ancient tombs similarly also were a way for star generals to increase their strength. Some ruins and tombs even had rare books and the like that survived from ancient time. For this reason, the sects would all painstakingly accumulate contracted star generals in order to be able to depend on star master status to get a share of the rewards. At that time, amazing the world with a single feat was not too impossible. With you and I together, we naturally will have achievements. Zhao Hanyan slightly smiled. Su Xing muttered under his breath, not at all the happy answer that Zhao Hanyan had imagined. What, could it be you will not go? Zhao Hanyan asked. The 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua, you ought to know, do you not? This is but able to instantly advance cultivation. The palace of Empress Hua just happens to have this item. Su Xing was very vexed. The 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua. One drop can greatly advance cultivation. This sort of item can only be encountered, not requested. He naturally very much wanted to go to this legendary ruin. With the palace of Empress Hua opened, not going this time meant there would be no opportunity next time, but time was too excessively pressing right now. To go from this place to the Black Turtle Sea needed several days, which was not enough to go back and forth. Whether or not Su Xing was moved by the palace of Empress Hua to refine the earth element flying sword was the major concern. The earth element flying sword was the master of defense. To face the overbearing Maiden Mountain, Su Xing first of all needed to protect his own safety in order to be able to make the beauties at ease. Otherwise, even if they were any more powerful, if he could not stand on his own, then he was a burden. Sorry, Hanyan. I came to the Black Turtle territory with urgent matters. I really have no way to free myself. Su Xing said with regret. Zhao Hanyan furrowed her brows. There was some disappointment in her eyes, however. From the very beginning when she found out Su Xing was pressed for time, she was not as angry as when she was refused the last time. Then there is no helping it. Master, allow slave servant to go. The indifferent Yan Yizhen suddenly offered her services like Mao Sui. Both of them were taken aback. The sisters are all working their hardest for master. Slave servant also wishes to do something for master. Yan Yizhen earnestly said. Yan Yizhen's decisive and deeply concerned expression made Su Xing honestly have not grounds to refuse. All right, Hanyan, how do you feel about this? Although she could not be together with Su Xing, Zhao Hanyan did not decline. You truly are fortunate to have found such a good star general. Suwen will also go together with elder sister Little E. And Suwen also volunteered. Another person against the 10 great sects for the palace of Empress Hua always was another boost in strength. Su Xing nodded. Gong Sun Sheng, master shall be left to you. Yan Yizhen looked to Gong Sun Huang. The little lowly blinked her eyes, gently nodding. Have you met with trouble? Zhao Hanyan wrinkled her brow, herself unable to sense the worry in her tone. Nothing troublesome. Right, Hanyan, I'll give this purple immortal radish to you to supplement your body. Su Xing suggestively winked and brought out the purple immortal radish. You shall gift it to this princess? Zhao Hanyan said in shock. Although Su Xing could not use this purple immortal radish, its value was extremely high. Not only could it allow a female cultivator to advance her yin energy cultivation, it could also maintain an eternally youthful appearance. It could not be bought with any amount of money. At the treasure feast, it definitely could elicit the frantic shrieks of female cultivators. She never expected that Su Xing would so generously gift it to her. Any way you put it, you are my woman. Just treat it as a body supplement. 5. Su Xing surreptitiously used sound transmission. Red clouds flew across Zhao Hanyan's face. Glancing at him with every sort of flirtatious and amorous expression, she extended a hand to take this purple immortal radish. Even if she had given her virginity to him, as if the Lingyan princess would ever be courteous, this princess does not wish to owe you. You can take this Bodhi fruit. Speaking of this, the Bodhi fruit fell into Su Xing's hand. Su Xing had trained with the 5 dragons colored glass lantern ability, and the Bodhi fruit was perfectly a great benefit. The two exchanged words for a bit, and then Yan Yizhen and Suwen entered Zhao Hanyan's immortal's abode. The sea was vast. Hearing the sound of waves crashing, the space between the sea and the sky was incomparably wide, boundlessly vacant, making Su Xing's heart suddenly feel a bit of loneliness. Gong Sun Huang sat on Su Xing's shoulder, but both her hands hugged Su Xing's head silently. Elder brother, the sisters definitely will be unharmed. Tang Lianxin consoled him. Su Xing smiled and nodded. He naturally understood that temporary separation was always better than a lifetime of separation. Lianxin, you will actually be lonely by yourself in the immortal's abode. Su Xing tenderly said. Tang Lianxin showed a not-too-practiced smile, slightly shaking her head. Now that the reclusive earthly solitary star had Su Xing's companionship, she already did not dare make any more extravagant demands. Now that things have come to this, elder brother had better not tarry any further. Understood. Su Xing said to Gongsun Huang, Little Huang, big brother has something he wants to trouble you with. Your Highness, please speak. Gongsun Huang blinked. Can you go help me look for a spring breeze drunken rain pavilion to bring by Yutong here? I've always been not too at ease. Su Xing smiled. Does your Highness not need little Huang's protection? Gongsun Huang spoke softly. Of course that isn't it. However, I can still cope with going to the Black Turtle Sea, so something as important as Bai Yutong shall be left to you, my beloved little Huang. Su Xing gently pinched her cheeks. Little Huang pondered for a moment and then nodded. Clasping Su Xing's face, she gently kissed him, and then her body soared up, light as a feather. Her indifferent expression seemed to say, Be careful, your Highness. Then, dragon in the clouds, Gongsun Huang hid into the sea of clouds, already disappearing into the horizon. As if he was dreaming of the 9-star generals at Su Xing's side, only Tang Lianxin was left. Elder brother, there's no need to worry. I'm going to the Black Turtle Sea now. Lianxin, you be careful yourself. Su Xing instructed. Elder brother as well. Tang Lianxin gave him a deep kiss full of tender feelings. The white clouds in the sky piled like snow, the island's cliffs towered in disorder. Suddenly, a sharp, air-breaking sound threaded through the sea of clouds, a screaming rumble. 2 beautiful figures fell from the sky like cannonballs, heavily smashing against the jagged cliffs, forming a giant hole. The smoke and dust cleared, and from the hole appeared 2 young women. One wore a tiger-patterned corset, and the other wore a blue shirt and short skirt. Inge! The beautiful girl in blue anxiously shouted, lending an arm to support the girl in the tiger-striped long gown and corset. That girl's stature was exquisite and also cute, however, that blue-clothed woman's build was wonderful and fine. At first glance the two were actually somewhat oddly intimate. Inger vomited blood. The blue-clothed girl shouted, Quickly stop the pain. Quickly flee. The exquisite girl said with difficulty. Pushing with one hand gripped a soul-chasing life-taking spear. She was the minute star Stumpy Tiger Wang Ying. 2. True name Wang Ying. 3. Thinking of escaping? A disdainful laugh fell from the sky. A Guanghan red hair steered a cloud of frost down. On the horse sat a mighty girl, with golden armor and long ribbons. In her hand was a purple brilliant moon-slashing blade. Great Saint Starkiller laughed out loud. The heavenly cycle-changing holy swords hung in the air, the cold light like iron. Worthy of being called Maiden Mountain's most absolute beautiful star general through the successive generations. Even when you are heavily injured to this degree, you still are capable of causing the downfall of a city. Even I cannot help but fall in love at first sight. Great Saint Starkiller praised the beauty of the blue-clothed woman that captivated all manner of living beings. The 2 girls had grave expressions. Now that the 3rd phase has passed, you earthly stars had better quickly return to Maiden Mountain. The things to come after do not require your participation. Great Saint Starkiller sneered. Roar! Stumpy Tiger Wang Ying was like a hissing tiger. Her star beast, the sea's mountain for King Beast, charged towards Great Saint Starkiller. The Guanghan red hair intercepted at the front, its hooves hovering in the sky. The chill of frost and ice forced the sea's mountain for King Beast to withdraw. Guan Ying slashed, cutting down the star beast. The blue-clothed girl suddenly erupted, her figure scattering dispersing like water and smoke, her speed abnormally quick. A pair of sabers appeared in her hands, and with a leap, she attacked Great Saint Starkiller. But Guang Ying's purple brilliant moon-slashing blade blocked. The 4-star destined weapon of fighting fame easily slashed back the girl. Inge, do not waste time. Kill them. Great Saint Starkiller issued his orders. Brave Star Guan Ying spurred her horse. Just the Guanghan red hair's freezing aggression made the color drain from Stumpy Tiger Wang Ying's face. Facing the Great Blade, chief of the 5 tigers, The minute star unexpectedly did not retreat. Nyangzi, quickly escape. Both of Wang Ying's hands clenched her spear. Star energy gathered from across her whole body, and the star crest on her forehead flashed. Guansheng watched this. Wang Ying leapt high, just like a fierce tiger descending a mountain. The soul chasing life taking spear shadows covered in layers. Dark rank, love color like life. 6. Guan Ying slightly hesitated. In that transient moment, her hand rose and the halberd fell. The purple brilliant moon slashing blade incomparably tore apart the spear images tyrannically. Stumpy tiger Wang Ying screamed as she was cut down by the blade. Just at this moment, the purple brilliant moon slashing blade abruptly burst forth with black chi. It passed through the girl, tearing her to shreds, like a plague of 10,000 ghosts. A heart-rending scream fell incessantly into the ear, a scene appearing extremely terrifying. Guan Ying's excited smile changed. She wanted to withdraw the great blade, but how could she have anticipated that Wang Ying's hands would seize the great blade? Even when this pain was so unbearable, she still turned her head back and shouted with difficulty, "Nyangzi, quickly escape!" Inge. The blue-clothed girl was grief-stricken. "Quickly run!" Wang Ying condensed all of the pain into a final shout. The blue-clothed girl raised her double sabers and slashed. Great Saint Starkiller sneered, "The feelings between you sisters is actually deep. Would it not be happier for you to return to Maiden Mountain together?" The heavenly cycle-changing holy sword chi was like silk, slashing over. In the end, Wang Ying's expression did not despair, nor was it angry. There was only a sort of deep concern. The young girl seemed to have heard the voice of her heart, live. But she needed to live to take revenge. The minute star fell down. The blue-clothed girl's eyes furiously burned. A jade pendant flashed, and the young girl's body disappeared like smoke. Thinking of running, Inge, kill her. Great Saint Starkiller shouted. Guan Ying tightly clenched her great blade, looking incredulously at the dark afterglow of her weapon, at the burning flames deeper than darkness. She seemingly could hear the grudge of her sister inside the weapon. All of the resentment enveloped the weapon, and a powerful force made her nearly incapable of control. What is this? What the hell is this? Guan Ying's complexion lost all of its color. Guan Sheng. A furious roar shook great blade Guan Ying from her shuddering. Guan Ying raised her head and spotted the hateful expression of the sister before her. Guan Shen. I, Hu Sanyang, swear that this is not over. Her figure dispersed, and the girl immediately disappeared. Guan Ying's eyes were like ice, without any feeling. Great Saint Starkiller was disdainful. The barks of a defeated dog she dares to boast. You think you can run from the Black Turtle territory, but the Devil Star Palace naturally will find you and sacrifice you. Master, why did you do this? Guan Ying shouted, her voice like a thunder roll. Great Saint Starkiller's brows wrinkled, and he sternly yelled, You ought to wake a bit from that illusion of honor, Guan Ying. The star duels have nothing to do with good and evil. They are only life and death, you must understand. Even now, your heart still retains compassion. Could it be you wish to repeat a disastrous course of action again? Her knuckles turned white from gripping her weapon so tightly. Guan Ying's gaze suddenly made Great Saint Starkiller's heart give rise to a sort of unprecedented chill. He made a rare step back. No need to be afraid, since you contracted her, she cannot possibly betray you. Even if she was not thinking of doing this, you can compel her by command, Great Saint Starkiller reassured himself. His tone warmed a bit. You and I share everything together in fortune and misfortune. Could it be, Guan Ying, that you do not want to raise again the true fighting fame of the chief of the 5 tigers? How many despicable characters were there in the previous star duels that nevertheless have even greater glory than yours, Guan Sheng? Could it be because their strength is more powerful than yours? But this general disdains using this sort of thing. Do you have anything meaningful to say? If it was not for you being defeated by Wu Song, how could we have ever fallen to such a state? Alas, this great saint does not wish to see you in pain, Ing. Great Saint Starkiller sighed in distress. unknown how much of the distress and helplessness shown in his eyes was real and how much was false. Guan Ying was silent. Seeing that she had been soothed, Great Saint Starkiller once again said, "For the sake of victory, you must make sacrifices. This is what you originally said to your servant, Ying. Now, what does this tiny, insignificant sacrifice amount to? First, properly refine this devil star. I will have all the people in the palace go capture Husan Yang, an earthly star for Heavenly King. She cannot run too far." Several days afterwards, a figure clad in a black cloak stood on one of Lone Dragon Mound 7, gazing into the distance. Below was an uneven wasteland and a large river cutting across. Further away, figures could be seen fighting on the river. Concentrating for a moment, the black-cloaked person nodded. Suddenly turning their head to look, the figure then flashed down the mountain. Su Xing felt himself truly unfortunate. Leaving the Immortal's abode, he used several days' time to go to the Black Turtle Sea, the end result of which was that the paths to this Black Turtle territory's sea crisscrossed. The islands were countless, and he unexpectedly lost his way. Asking several villagers from the islands, no one knew the way. Su Xing currently was inwardly angry. He heard that he could hear all sorts of information at Lone Dragon Mound. Asking around, he did not find anything. On the contrary, he had drawn trouble over first. The alligator dragon sea swallowing claws of the young girl clad in a sleeveless blue long robe were dexterous claws. Upon the seas, she was more nimble than a fish. Watching her claws dance, the ground immediately surged with bursts of water pillars shooting into the sky. Quickly surrender before Pingo. The corner of the girl's lips curled. Her short pink hair was tied into two small ponytails. The flowing sea hung, and those eyes carried a hurry and surrender meaning. Su Xing inwardly wrinkled his brow, flipped open the treasure book and looked. Star position, Guilt Star, 9, star name, Ruan Xiao T, nickname, short-lived second brother, 11, true name, Ruan Pingo 12, rank, 29th star weapon, alligator dragon sea swallowing claws, 13 2-star, star beast, ancient dragon alligator, 14 realm, 10,000 techniques 7 stage innate skill, water control 5 elements, water yellow rank special move, dragon king break dark rank special move, water flooding dragon king temple current status, no contractor, can be conquered, detailed materials. Guilt star Ruan Xiaowu. Su Xing gasped. The star generals of this Black Turtle territory honestly were numerous. He did not expect to see her. A naval star general was a ferocious character, and she had not signed a contract. If this was in the past, Su Xing would have had interest to flirt a bit, but how could he have this fiery sentiment at this time? Ruan Ping, what are you doing? Su Xing continuously dodged the rocketing water pillars. If he was stained, the consequences could not be imagined. The birth treasure outline? Wah, you have lots of capital. Are you a star master? Where is your star general? Her evil grin increasingly blossomed. Guilt star Ruan Pinger's current manner looked as if she had spotted prey. It would be better to capture and bring you back to my watery den. I do not have time to play with you. Su Xing felt he truly was foolish enough to unexpectedly still have the mood to play at this time. Could it be that he still clung onto the idea of signing a contract? Su Xing's divine intent rose. 24 flying swords appeared from thin air. They cut down the water pillars altogether. A rushing escape light charged the Guilt Star. Wouldn't it be better for you to first become your servant's mistress? Su Xing could not help taking liberties with her. Suddenly, he recalled that the depth of the Black Turtle Sea was millions of li deep, very dangerous. If there was this sort of water general, how could he not be a fish back in water to have double the success with half the effort? If you have the ability, then come get me. Let us see just who will fall first. Ruan Pinger's expression was extremely delicate and pretty, but she looked like a weird uncle. Seeing Su Xing was supercluster early stage, Ruan Pinger sensed that Su Xing was a star master. The so-called star masters were not all star cultivators that had contracted star generals. Some only became star cultivators after the star duels began. These sorts of star cultivators could also sign contracts with star generals, and they were also called descended stars. 16. Any way it was put, supercluster early-stage cultivation was stunning. Yuan Ping'er originally thought to force Su Xing to bring out his star general, but it appeared that Su Xing did not have a star general. Could it be this man had not contracted a star general? This surprising discovery made Yuan Ping'er wildly give birth to wicked thoughts. Her heart had the impulse to first capture him and bring him back for the elder and little sisters to look at. It was honestly too pitiful for this sort of star master to not contract. If the elder and little sisters did not like him, at that time, she could nearly have one less disaster. Precisely harboring this goal, the gilt star then became braver the more she fought. The alligator dragon's sea-swallowing claw slashed, and a water pillar rolled up, becoming a water dragon that extended across the girl's whole body. That scene was extremely beautiful. Dragon King break. Yuan Ping'er grinned evilly. That wide and large water dragon locked onto Su Xing and pounced. The flying swords simultaneously slashed, yet cutting water was completely useless. Return. Su Xing struck a hand seal, his flying swords forming a sword shield that unfolded and blocked before him. The water dragon slammed against it. The dragon's powerful strength jolted the life-cast flying swords into groaning, feeling quite unwell alongside Su Xing's own body. Gilt star short-lived second brother Yuan Xiaowu grinned evilly. The alligator dragon's sea-swallowing claws once again brandished water dragons, a function of her water control innate skill. Yuan Ping'er played with the flow of the river in the palm of her hand. To Su Xing, this did not constitute a threat, yet it could waste his star energy. A star master like yourself, elder sister will like. Yuan Ping'er cruelly grinned. The river made Su Xing trapped on all sides, putting him in a somewhat impossible situation. His opponent was a top-notch naval magic energy heavenly star, and this place was her home turf. For a time, Su Xing was at wit's end attempting to capture Yuan Ping'er to be a mistress. Yuan Ping'er was currently deluding herself about how to entertain this feast for the eyes, when suddenly she felt a chilly wind come from behind her. The short-lived second brother glanced out the corner of her eye and spotted a figure in a black cloak currently moving towards her in a high-speed attack. That speed was very quick. A scorching baleful aura gravely arrived before her. Yuan Ping'er's claws went to block. Cold light crisscrossed, moving back and forth. The black-clothed person was nimble beyond imagination. Yuan Ping'er caught the smell of danger and familiarity. A star general? A soft bellow broke free from the cloaked person's lips. Yuan Ping'er saw a pair of golden pupils raise a storm. The black-cloaked star general charged for the kill on Yuan Ping'er in a spurt of energy. Yuan Ping'er's claws warded off the blow. Countless water blades slashed in an exchange. Yuan Ping'er suddenly discovered the star general in front of her was very weak. Although her speed and agility were somewhat surprising, her attack power was mediocre. Yuan Ping'er completely could hold her own, so much so that she could use star magic to be even more sure of victory. I can kill her? As expected, you have a star general. Short-lived second brother Yuan Ping'er evilly laughed. It would be better to yield to me. The dull gold light slashed, blocked by the long already prepared alligator dragon's sea-swallowing claws, but Yuan Ping'er was not at all relaxed at this time. She did not know whether or not her provocation had aroused her opponent's desire for battle, for the cloaked star general made several fierce chops in succession. The gold light and water light clashed restlessly. Another short blade suddenly attacked from another angle. Yuan Ping'er intercepted it. The opponent's fierce and explosive oppression made Yuan Ping'er continuously step back. Double sabers and double claws ferociously slashed at each other, the crisp shockwaves linking together into one. Yuan Ping'er let out an evil laugh that feigned relaxation, but her expression betrayed her disguise. Her opponent's attacks were increasingly fierce, increasingly emotional. Yuan Ping'er already was somewhat unable to bear with it. Heavenly Star Marshal General? A water wall revolved around. What are you doing not showing yourself? Could it be you are very ugly? Yuan Ping'er asked as she retreated. The cloaked Star General's double sabers easily ripped apart the water screen. Her figure was mist-like, her body techniques somewhat unfathomable. The double sabers crisscrossed and stabbed, freezing Gilt Star short-lived second brother's evil grin. The blades tipped directly stabbed into her lung. Ruan Pinger's expression changed, pulling out the blade's tip with great difficulty. Her star magic escaped, and she unexpectedly dove into the ocean depths. Water flooding Dragon King Temple. Ruan Pinger was abruptly angry. The island quaked, and a turbulent flood soared into the sky, engulfing the entire island. The cloaked star general did not hesitate at all to rush towards Su Xing. Su Xing was currently spectating the drama. The pair's surprising battle made him leak cold sweat. Originally, he had wanted to help Ruan Pinger, however, for he who had only just fought about to go help honestly was finding trouble. Su Xing just waited for his chance to be the hero that rescued the beauty. Doing so would resolve the misunderstanding between them, and going with her to the Black Turtle Sea would be more convenient. That cloaked, mysterious person was strong. Although it appeared her strength was less than desirable, carrying a trace of weakness, her double saber arts, flaring aura of death and dreamlike dance steps made Su Xing, an expert in battle against star generals, immediately discern that the martial arts of the person before him were considerably formidable. Ruan Pinger was perhaps misfortunate against this. Not outside of expectations, Ruan Pinger's advantage was not maintained for long. She was beat back, and just when Su Xing thought of being the hero that rescued the beauty, he suddenly saw first the Gilt Star short-lived second brother unexpectedly use her dark rank star magic. The island sunk, and the flood swallowed the sky. Countless sea dragons fell over each other in a terrifying surge. That aggression was incomparably terrifying. Just as Su Xing wanted to ride a flying sword to escape, the cloaked person all of a sudden surprisingly rushed over. "You came at the perfect time." Su Xing grunted and slashed with a flying sword. The opponent paused and was wounded by the sword chi. What made Su Xing surprised was that the newcomer did not react. She was neither angry nor did she make any other expression. A soft arm extended, contrarily full of kindly intentions. Su Xing was taken aback, and then he grabbed hold. "Come with this, wife." A somewhat tender voice called out. The counterpart pulled Su Xing and skyrocketed. The countless water dragons ceaselessly eroded Lone Dragon Mount. This girl's body techniques were extremely agile, like a butterfly flitting through flowers. Each and every time she dodged, if it were Su Xing, he would unavoidably have to squander much energy in order to resist. How could he ever be as fairy-like as she? Star General? As if they were high in the clouds, in the blink of an eye, the young girl brought Su Xing to an even higher mountain. Looking back to Lone Dragon Mound, the big island had already been swallowed and submerged by the sea dragons. So violent. Su Xing shuddered. "I will not let you go." Ruan Pinger ground her teeth in denial. She jumped into the ocean depths, escaping far away. Only when her presence completely disappeared did the young girl finally retract her chilliness. Up until now, Su Xing still did not understand just what the hell was going on. Why did it seem like the two of them were fighting over him? "You are?" Su Xing asked. His counterpart extended a hand and waved. The cloak was peeled away, and if what Su Xing expected was a beauty, what he did not expect was an absolute beauty. The girl's body was dressed in an ocean blue. Her top only wore a bodice, revealing her underbelly and navel. Her bamboo-shoot-shaped breasts were very plump, and he could vaguely glimpse a very deep cleavage. The water-blue shoulder pads were lined with red pearls, and her lower body wore a skirt armored in the front and was longer in the back. The corners of her skirt had silk weaving, as if they were aquatic grasses gently waving, which made the girl appear considerably alluring. Her legs were slender and fair, and transparent boots extended up to her thighs. The attire bluer than the sea that was over her whole body highlighted the girl's wonderful curves, as if she was a mermaid who had emerged from the sea, full of a dreamy sensation. Her beautiful long hair extended like a waterfall. The young girl's pupils were in amber gold. Like caged smoke, it was unclear what was real and what was false. Her dull cherry lips, her absolutely beautiful mien, skin that surpasses snow made Su Xing unable to help but exclaim in admiration. "Are you a man or not?" Her voice was the sound of nature. The young girl's expression was very cold yet also somewhat irascible. Of course I am, one who can support heaven and earth. Su Xing patted his chest. If you are a man, then you will never cower, correct? Su Xing could hear her somewhat odd tone. The girl was slightly deep as the sea, but he still nodded. He had never been one to cower. Very good. The woman attentively gazed at Su Xing, her long eyebrows considerably arousing. What was this little beauty thinking of doing? Su Xing did not dare be careless, inwardly on guard. The young girl walked close to him. Suddenly, her hands clasped Su Xing's cheeks. She stood on tiptoe and kissed Su Xing's lips. The girl's soft lips immediately transmitted a feeling warmer than water. Su Xing's whole body seemed to be enveloped in seawater. His blood boiled, and his head suddenly ached, as if there was a blade carving upon it. This is... Su Xing's heart was greatly astonished. Nevertheless, his lips were being tyrannically deep-kissed by the girl. Su Xing instinctively wanted to push her away when suddenly he glanced a tear of grief leak from the corner of the girl's eye, stirring his heart. The star crest on the girl's forehead flashed with a blue light. Su Xing immediately sensed that his ocean of consciousness again increased in size, gaining another star nest. They had signed a star dual covenant. The kiss ended. A shade of red appeared on the girl's pale cheeks. Following their contract, both sides were reborn. Su Xing had yet to return to his senses. Su Xing contracting 8 star generals was unprecedented since ancient times in Liangshan continent. Perhaps no one could be more familiar with the sensation of signing a star dual covenant than Su Xing was. But even so, the first encounter with such a powerful kiss made the Su Xing who signed the contract completely stupefied. He had never thought about this sort of situation before. He did not even know what star general this girl even was. Who are you? Su Xing moistened his lips and organized his thoughts. He was just attacked by the guilt star just now? He had even wanted to develop a relationship with guilt star Wan Xiaowu to go to the Black Turtle Sea, and then he formed a contract with the ocean blue illusory girl in front of him? What third-rate director directed this third-rate act of a third-rate play? A plot twist? The climax? The world-shaking pledge? There was a total lack of it all. Just signing a contract like this, Su Xing felt this was very unreal. You can just call me Nyangzi. 3. The girl's voice was not warm at all. But these words were spoken so ecstatically. Nyangzi? Calling herself wife at first sight? This really was a fourth-rate script. She honestly was brazen, Su Xing secretly observed. Your name? The young girl's tone was harsh. Your servant is Su Xing. You can call me dear husband. Su Xing scratched his head. The other side had made him address her as wife. Any way it was put, he had to reciprocate for propriety, to show good faith. To marry first and then cultivate feeling was also quite fresh. Dear husband? The girl was taken aback. A drunken red flew across her face. She stared at Su Xing and indignantly said, Since you would like for me to call you dear husband, then I shall call you dear husband. Hey, why is it, I like? It was obviously you yourself that first made the request, right? The Su Xing who was slightly treated as a shameless pervert was very bewildered. What star general are you? Su Xing merely treated this wife as foul-mouthed but upstanding. This lady is the 59th ranked bright star 10 feet of blue Husan Yang. The girl voluntarily introduced herself, turning around. Husan Yang? A star general of Maiden Mountain's earthly star 4 heavenly kings? Su Xing's heart was jolted. The beautiful female general of the water margin. This made Su Xing feel like wringing his wrists and sigh that this beauty had been defiled by Wang Ying. Su Xing flipped out the birth treasure outline, and the golden light glowed. Star position, bright star, 5, star name, Hu Sanyang 6, nickname, 10 feet of blue, 7, true name, Hunyangzi 8, rank, 59th star weapon, golden wind and morning dew double sabers, 3 star, / these feelings are endless lasso, not yet manifested, 9, star beast, blood sweat silver hair horse, realm, 10,000 techniques 8th stage innate skill, Light Smoke Dance Steps. 11. 5 Elements. Water Yellow Rank Special Move. Hate Transmission. 12. Dark Rank Special Move. Flying Star. Magpie Dance. 13. Current Status. Su Xing Contractor. Detailed Materials. True Name. Hunyangzi. Su Xing gasped. Your true name is Hunyangzi? The bright star turned her head, showing a "is there a problem" expression. Su Xing grumbled and shook his head. Fuck, her true name is Hunyangzi. Then I was truly showering her with unwanted affection just now. However, seeing that Hunyangzi did not oppose, Su Xing would make the best after this mistake. Su Xing had a question he was dying to ask. This wife knows what you wish to ask. I signed a contract with you because I saw your cultivation. A supercluster stage star master without a star general would inevitably tempt many uncontracted star maidens, but Hu Sanyang nevertheless was not motivated by this. She wanted revenge, to find and exact revenge on Guansheng, but relying on herself alone, she absolutely could not win against Great Saint Starkiller and Great Blade Guansheng. Because of this, she needed to find a powerful star master. So, when she spotted Su Xing was supercluster and without a star general in accompaniment, 10 feet of blue, Hunyangzi did not hesitate at all to snatch him from the Gilt Star's hands. As for the kiss contract, Hunyangzi wanted to make each of their star energies become even more powerful. So long as she could kill Guansheng, whatever the price, she would pay it, let alone this kiss contract. Kill Guansheng? Bright star 10 feet of blue, Hunyangzi spoke flatly, yet the bereavement in her eyes made Su Xing somewhat moved. He had once met Guan Ying inside Evil Smiting Hall. At that time, he had been practically forced to a dead end by the 4-star Great Blade. He had lingering fears towards this star general of proud warrior spirit. Dear husband, do you dare accompany Nyangzi together to go kill them? Hunyangzi's voice was extremely calm, as if she did not care at all for Su Xing's reply, but Su Xing could understand what it was the girl needed. Wife's affairs are my affairs, what's there to be afraid of? Su Xing slightly smiled. Bright star Hunyangzi stared intently on Su Xing, her dull gold pupils in contemplation. She lightly nodded, unclear whether she acknowledged Su Xing's words or if she acknowledged the lord husband before her. However, are we going now? Su Xing asked. Dear husband, is there any certainty that we can kill her right now? Hunyangzi asked back. The both of them were intelligent people, and Su Xing smiled. Hunyangzi appeared to be impulsive, but she actually was calm. Who was Great Saint Starkiller? The Black Turtle Territory's #1 star master, with a cultivation that had reached supercluster middle stage peak. The brave star Great Blade Guan Ying 5 Tiger General's chief even had a 4-star destined weapon in hand, and with the Devil Star Palace's influence at their back, they were even more unexcelled in the world. They were the Black Turtle Territory's #1 Great Devil Palace. The Black Turtle Territory had several devil sects, and many of their star masters without exception could only gaze at Great Saint Starkiller's back. Such a star master was without any hesitation to speak of. The 7 stars assembly of this generation's star duels belonged to him, and it was even reasonable that the position of overlord belonged to him. Although Hunyangzi was crammed full of unrestrainable anger and hatred for the Guansheng who tortured Wang Ying to death, she nevertheless understood the distance between them. However, after contracting Su Xing, a rare calm appeared in Hunyangzi's irascible heart, and her consciousness was even more clear. Of course, this was thanks to the effect of Su Xing's soul technique. Right now we don't. However, you will know in the future. You can't be scared stiff by this dear husband's identity. Su Xing said. Regardless of what dear husband's identity is, Nyangzi will always stand loyally by your side. Hunyangzi displayed her intentions and standpoint. Hunyangzi's beauty was like a soap bubble, truly with a sort of misty and hazy mystery, particularly those quiet golden amber eyes. Su Xing felt somewhat moved. Just as Su Xing was about to ask her about the matter of his black turtle sea-flying swords, at this moment, 10 feet of blue abruptly spun around, her double sabers appearing in her hands. Those sabers were modeled extremely ornately, embedded with stars and gems. One twinkled with an ocean blue light, The other short saber appeared a gold the shade of golden sand of the deep sea, twinkling with a mesmerizing light. The golden sand short blade was named Golden Wind, the ocean blue twined with waves of green light was named Morning Dew. Golden Wind and Morning Dew. Of the magnificent and famous 108 star maidens, her beauty was the top throughout the 9 generations of star duels, making countless star cultivators drool over her, to pursue her. Even in this generation, things were the same. Nyangzi has brought over some trouble and asks dear husband to retreat. 10 feet of blue who Nyangzi faced head-on, her expression extremely calm without ripples. Since we are husband and wife, don't distinguish between us. Su Xing shook his head. Although this surprising forced contract made Su Xing recall how Lin Yingmei was at first, since they had contracted, there was nothing more to say. Furthermore, he was not opposing her at all, but the deeply hidden sorrow in 10 feet of blue's eyes made him feel hurt. Su Xing was determined to first slowly influence her and then worry later. A black cloud arrived. Hu Sanyang, the Devil Star Palace has ordered our devil addiction sect to capture you. Will you obediently be captured or first suffer torment? Several black long-robed men and women controlled their flying swords, sneering incessantly. This does not require dear husband to act. She whispered softly into his ear. Her watery silhouette already soared, becoming mist. She flashed into the middle of the devil addiction sect. Artifacts and magic weapons flew out in succession, falling over each other in retreat and battle. Golden Wind and Morning Dew delicately danced, and the girls' attacks were rated as wonderful. Careful! Use the devil dart. 2. Bloodthirsty Great Array. Terrified voices were in extreme chaos. With a soft and muffled noise, Hunyangzi instantly avoided the encirclement of these star cultivators. Her body techniques were completely indecipherable. A Galaxy Peak cultivator was startled, only feeling a chill at his back, and then he felt a sharp blade pierce his flesh. His blood vessels were indeed ice-cold, and a terrifying aura of death spread through his body. A formless power immediately erupted. No one could describe the terror of this baleful aura that suddenly and oddly appeared, just like how no one could escape the samsara of life and death. Instantly, with Hunyangzi as the center, the murderous intent within a 2-meter range seemed to come alive, flocking in all directions. In an instant, there seemed to be a conflagration burning everything away. Then, the several dozen corpses of cultivators left behind were burnt to ash. The other cultivators cried out in fear. They did not expect that Hu Sanyang would unexpectedly be so violent. Did the information not say she had been left at her last breath by Guanyin, that she was without the strength to strike back? What was the meaning of this? The star crest on her forehead answered the suspicions of these dead cultivators. Star Dual Covenant? 10 feet of blue has signed a contract. Be careful. It is that man. Frightened yells rose and fell in succession. These cultivators rapidly fled, but the bright star's body techniques were indescribably wide, appearing very slow, but she followed left and right, unable to be shaken loose. The more they wanted to run, the more clingy the mist was. Calm down, all of you. I will go kill her contractor. The sound of thunder roared, like a demon. A supercluster late-stage elder transformed into a demon, moving to attack Su Xing, just perfect. Su Xing sneered, calling forth the heaven-tearing flying swords. The flying swords of both sides struggled against each other. All of a sudden, the old man's palm struck. The star energy defenses around Su Xing's body warped and tore wherever the palm touched. His star energy shattered, becoming fragments that entered this ancestor's hand. Watch the thirsty for blood boundless devil sect ghost sealing great array. 3. What a long name. The supercluster late-stage ancestor coldly shouted. Instantly, Su Xing felt that he seemed to be placed right above a bottomless eddy. The air had boundless strength unable to be utilized, and his whole body's strength had been firmly trapped a suction force. Formless black chi fell over itself and flew out, binding him like chains. Su Xing did not dare be careless. He shouted, blossoming the meditative mind lotus flower. That limitless black chi was immediately illuminated by Buddhist light. Golden lotuses surged in the air, and the supercluster late-stage ancestor's expression greatly changed. In a flash, that ancestor's eyes widened. His entire being suddenly was roused from a beautiful dreamland. His face twitched and he bared his fangs. With a great yell, he already fully utilized his powers. How could he ever be willingly frightened by a supercluster early-stage cultivator? Raising a magic weapon, two black banners suddenly appeared behind him. Unfurling, they became a barrier. As the Devil Addiction sect's top-notch elder, regardless of strength or ability, the supercluster late-stage cultivator would far surpass a supercluster early-stage. When he saw that Su Xing went to directly contend against him, the supercluster ancestor thought his opponent's brain was broken. He thought of getting rid of this monk to render a great service. After he saw that Buddhist light, although the supercluster ancestor was somewhat fearful, he was still composed. His arms spread open, black chi protecting him. His body's surly and powerful abilities completely were not something Su Xing could compare himself to. This full power release immediately stabilized the formless chains. Su Xing's face still hung that fearless and extremely indifferent grin. The other several cultivators seized their chance while the supercluster ancestor was stalling Su Xing. Seeing that this was an exceptionally good opportunity, they suddenly launched a sky and earth-shattering assault. Cold light gleamed in his eyes as Su Xing sneered facing them. Seeing those black devil magic artifacts, he displayed the tenacity and resolution characteristic of a star cultivator who emerged the veteran of 100 battles. His left hand rose, instantly forming a hand seal. Tut! His short hair was blown upwards by the wind, his whole body's blood boiling. Su Xing unexpectedly unleashed his might at this instant, sending all of his star energy into his right palm and shooting it outwards. Vajra Devil Felling Palm. The Buddhist palm boomed, and the supercluster ancestor's expression greatly changed. Bang! Golden light flourished. The star energy protecting the back of the supercluster late-stage ancestor was instantly blown apart by the surly power on Su Xing's tyrannical palm, exposing his withered flesh, and the two banners acting as defensive magic weapons were even more damaged. Immediately, all of his power was discharged, filling the sky. The banners immediately shredded. Spewing out a mouthful of blood immediately, the supercluster late-stage ancestor flew out. He was in clear disbelief, but if he only used a full power palm attack, he would only force Su Xing onto a dead end. The reason was that at this time, the other star cultivators had already launched an attack. Su Xing did not back away at all. Su Xing's smile made the supercluster ancestor feel an unprecedented feeling of danger. From Su Xing's revolt to now was merely the blink of an eye. The Devil Addiction sect's several dozen cultivators were completely without even the time to be shocked. Already with glowering eyes, they launched an attack. Several dozen thick beams of light suddenly appeared that enveloped everything. Immediately afterwards, blades, talismans, seals, black stone, flying swords, and all sorts of different artifacts and powers attacked, immediately filling his surrounding 3 meters. An extremely rebellious force rolled toward Su Xing, pelting him. Grave as a devil's roar. Even a supercluster early stage would unavoidably suffer under such a powerful assault. But a clear light sprinkled down, pure and holy, melodious and limpid. All of the black chi that received the clear light suddenly ebbed away, as if it had encountered its bane. Evil suppressing clear light. The supercluster ancestor immediately knew what the thing before him was. Go! Su Xing formed a hand seal. The 12 Langya slowly flew out, drawing out a gorgeous arc, showering down clear light. The Devil Addiction sect's cultivation methods were in no way opponents for the 10,000-year evil-suppressing flying swords, and they were easily broken apart. All of the cultivators showed astonished expressions and wanted to flee. The flying swords twisted, and the evil-suppressing clear light rolled up a hurricane that destroyed these cultivators completely, dead with remaining grievances. The Black Turtle territory cannot ever coexist with you. The supercluster ancestor furiously said. His words were not an exaggeration. The 10,000-year evil-suppressing Langya was already sufficient to make the Black Turtle Devil Sex target Su Xing for complete destruction. Su Xing snorted, his expression seemingly saying, "Do you have any life to let them know?" The supercluster late-stage ancestor was stunned. No. By the time he returned to his senses, Hunyangzi's double sabers radiating hate already stabbed. A top-notch head immediately left its body and flew into the sky. Evil suppressing clear light is honestly convenient. Su Xing patted off his palms. Looking again to Hunyangzi, he feared this battle would not even count as a warm-up. The young girl had wholehearted doubt. Gazing at Su Xing's Langya, she showed astonishment, but the bright star showed great calm, not saying a word, silent. Su Xing destroyed the elder's corpse, and just as he was about to destroy that head, he suddenly noticed that the head did not fall down. Raising his head to look, he suddenly saw a young girl riding a winged tiger already holding onto the elder's head. A man shouted in amazement, "Elder Boundless!" Star General? Su Xing and Hu Sanyang coldly glared at the people above. Since they did not run, then there was no need to. They should have thought of this before. After all, even if the Devil Addiction sect was a sect that had been unilaterally ordered by the Devil Star Palace to take action, they would need to take Maiden Mountain into consideration. This time was the most appropriate time to dispatch a Star Master. However, this Star General riding a winged tiger honestly had come relatively late, a bit like a police officer. Seeing that young girl's whole body clad in gold armor, her golden hair waving in the wind, her hand held a broadsword. Mighty and brilliant, Su Xing could feel her powerful strength from very far away. "Let me see what Star General you are." Su Xing for the third time flipped out the birth treasure outline. Star name, Defense Star, 5, star name, Lei Heng 6, nickname, Winged Tiger, 7, true name. Rank, 25th star weapon, Flying Tiger Retreating Forest Saber 8, 3 star, Star Beast, Heavenly Wing Fierce Tiger, Realm, 10,000 Techniques 6 stage Innate Skill, Power, 10, 5 Elements, Metal Yellow Rank Special Move, Flying Stream Scuttling Sky / 11, Dark Rank Special Move, 2 Tigers Bear Wind 12 Current Status, by Lu 13, Contractor, Detailed Materials. The ranked 25th Defense Star Lei Heng. Su Xing was taken aback, however, he saw that the realm of 10,000 Techniques 6 stage was apparently ever so slightly inferior to 10 feet of blue Hunyangzi. "Hu Sanyang, you killed my sect elder. Today you will pay with your life." That Star Master by Lu shouted. More than 60 flying swords moved out like specters, descending. Su Xing commanded Langya and Heaven Tearing to go block. 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo? Yuer. Foin. Do not let them go. Zealous desire blossomed in Bai Li's eyes. Winged Tiger Lei Heng wanted to stop, but seeing her own master was already attacking, the girl could not hesitate anymore. Patting the Star Beast Heavenly Wing Fierce Tiger, she had it assist her master in battle, attacking Su Xing together. Lei Heng was very clear only this would allow them any chance. There was no need to mention that she herself was going to get rid of 10 feet of blue. "Hu Sanyang, do you still wish to run?" Lei Yu jumped down, the Flying Tiger Retreating Forest Saber in her hand emitting a biting cold light. Not even death can excuse the crimes of you devil sex. Remembering the suffering slaughter of Wang Ying, Hunyangzi's eyes burned with cold fire, raising her body to go forth. "Little sister dares to be arrogant." Lei Yu shouted. "Kacha!" Lei Yu suddenly swept horizontally towards Hunyangzi's figure that was fluttering like mist. The broadsword shook out a tiger's hiss, purple thunderfire suddenly wrapping around the blade. The winged tiger's slash surprisingly brandished a several hundred zhang terrifying thunderlight, just like an enormous tornado that took shape from her blade, forming an arc that suddenly spread. Wherever it passes, Hunyangzi's phantoms that formed because of her speed reacted as if they had met with the glow of the sun's rays, instantly dissipating. The entire earth quaked. Her figure turned around in midair. Hunyangzi's phantoms abruptly became even faster, continuously twisting several times. Suddenly, she broke away from the range of the defense Star Lei Yu's saber chi. There was another thunder-like explosion, and another, resounding in the sky, but the distance seemed to widen. After continuously evading, Hunyangzi suddenly turned back light as smoke. Guang! 16. A terrifying enormous noise. Instantly, the tiger's mouth burst. A powerful to the extreme and terrifying force abruptly exploded on Hunyangzi's double sabers. The dull gold murderous aura and ocean blue saber chi fused together, raising an unimaginably illusory aura of death. Suddenly, it shook Defense Star Lei Yu's charge, and immediately after, bounced back with an even faster speed. In the sky, Defense Star Lei Yu's body seemed to shudder endlessly. The edges of her hands were already blood red. Yellow rank saber technique, hate transmission. What? Defense Star Lei Heng's heart was alarmed, lifting her gaze as she rolled away. In her line of sight, that young girl as faintly discernible as mist, as illusory as dust, suddenly appeared. Wearing that sexy bodice, with her eyes more tranquil and more deep than the sea, golden wind and morning dew were like an absolute defense that closely protected her front. Of course, what made Defense Star Lei Yu feel disbelief even more was that the little sister in front of her could be so terrifying, completely exceeding Lei Yu's expectations. Impossible! How could Defense Star Lei Yu, as a heavenly star, be willing to be beaten back by ranked 59th Bright Star? In her fury, Defense Star Lei Yu raised her broadsword, killing intent wildly gushing forth. Meanwhile, Su Xing and the Winged Tiger's Star Beasts and Star Master were in a 1-on-2 battle. However powerful this Star Beast was, Su Xing also was not a pushover. Bright Star Husanyang's innate skill light smoke dance steps immediately showed its presence. Su Xing's figure became faster than ever before. He felt amazed and was apparently even more nimble. Under the overbearing attack, he was even more easygoing, and in Bai Li's eyes, Su Xing's body techniques were truly agile. Can you only run? Coward! An artifact was raised. Su Xing truly did not understand why the Galaxy late-stage cultivator before him would come star duel with him. Revenge? Su Xing definitely did not feel this was a very good reason, however, seeing Bai Li's eyes show madness for the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo, he could somewhat understand. As well, his star general was a heavenly star of boundless power, and she had the star beast Heavenly Wing Fierce Tiger as assistance in battle against Su Xing, which appeared to be fierce, but it was actually he who had an enormous advantage. Of course, it had to be mentioned that this Bai Lu honestly thought Su Xing was only capable of flying swords. However, I've no interest in playing with you. I definitely want to leave behind a good impression in front of this new wife. Su Xing's eyes flickered with an acute light. Suddenly his hand patted his astral bag, and a watery dragon net flew out. The water-splitting dragon binding net was the first magic weapon he obtained after he killed Ancestor Bailey so long ago at Grindstone Mountain. Now, Su Xing's cultivation had reached supercluster, which was enough to refine it. The water-splitting dragon binding net suddenly expanded, covering the Heavenly Wing Fierce Tiger and Bai Lu. Bai Lu shouted, only then showing fear. However, was this not a bit too late? Dark rank saber technique, two tigers bear wind. Lei Yu slashed with the flying tiger retreating forest saber, furious to the extreme, her aggression bursting out. Countless saber winds exploded from all directions without any blind spots or gaps, attacking Bright Star Hunyangzi. The saber chi appeared to be countless wings that flapped and shot incorporeal lights at Hunyangzi, covering her. Then, before Hunyangzi could retreat, a second yellow rank technique flying stream scuttling sky slash immediately followed after, the saber's tip directly grazing Hunyangzi's beautiful mane. Bright Star Hunyangzi was not at all scared by this sort of pressure. Her gaze was more icy and more tranquil than polar ice. On the verge of the moment the saber tip was about to touch her, 10 feet of blue suddenly moved to the side, her speed strangely quick. A line of blood immediately spurted out. The murderous aura of two techniques chained together completely ignored Hunyangzi's star energy defenses. Instantly, a ghastly wound was drawn along the girl's right shoulder. But the girl did not even wrinkle her brow. She did not hesitate to suffer a wound as the price, flashing to within 20 meters of her opponent. In the instant that Lei Yu's broadsword was too late to return, 10 feet of blue was like a viper, suddenly attacking after the ice over. The next instant, a line of golden light left the girl's palm. Golden wind, in that instant, broke through the limits of speed. The saber tip was in front, and golden wind became a sharp arrow, its tip carrying a violent gale, shooting directly at Lei Yu. Little sister still does not withdraw. The defense star gnashed her teeth. The flying tiger retreating forest saber suddenly emitted a violent killing intent, and then the entire thing burned. It instantly formed a forbid dance that obstructed the young girl. Being stopped by this unanticipated defense, the girl's sword suddenly slowed, but immediately, the ocean blue light of morning dew simultaneously rose. Golden wind and morning dew crisscrossed, and the saber chi crumbled. Instantly flashing away from Lei Yu's attack, the saber tip aimed at the girl's heart. Not good. Lei Yu's heart pounded, spinning her saber to go block. 10 feet of blue Hunyangzi's phantom suddenly dropped. After the double sabers were once again blocked, she simultaneously danced, and stars fell into the void. Astonishingly, this was her dark rank saber technique, flying star magpie dance. Lei Yu was honestly a bold and powerful character. Resounding sparks flickered in the sky. Once again, the broadsword and double sabers already clashed together. Lei Yu was prepared to retreat, but she suddenly sensed her body was not under her control. The golden wind and morning dew double sabers once again drew a bold and moving trajectory. What made the defense star Lei Yu feel even more surprised was that the saber tip brushed past her neck, making the defense star astonished into a cold sweat. Consecutive dark rank technique? Lei Yu suddenly remembered the earthly star little sister in front of her that she disdained was capable of consecutive dark ranks. No. When Lei Yu realized this, the misty figure instantly flashed before the astonished Lei Yu. The bright star practically did not hesitate. Her double sabers once again drew an amazing arc, and seawater reflected the golden sand. The double sabers were no longer sabers, but even more like a rainbow. Courting death. Lei Yu in the end shouted, hacking with her broadsword. During a cry that was like air being split apart, the target was sliced apart. But that was merely a shadow. It is over. Hunyangzi used her mysterious dance steps to quietly appear behind, the light-like double sabers slashing. Even so, Lei Yu's reactions were extremely quick. She spun around to block, the broadsword's edge spraying sparks. At the same time, countless blades of light fell from the sky. Her expression slightly distressed, Hunyangzi's golden wind and morning dew once again missed. Twinkling flames and light rays fluctuated and faded. The third consecutive dark rank technique made Lei Yu thoroughly stupefied. She wanted to flee. Suddenly, her head hurt, and she spat blood. "Young master, farewell," Hunyangzi softly said. Lei Yu saw that the double sabers had already stuck into her stomach, killing intent diffusing through her body. "As expected of you," Lei Yu bitterly smiled. Her figure vanished. Bai Lu was trapped by the water-splitting dragon-binding net. How could this galaxy cultivator resist against such a magic weapon? Trapped by this, Su Xing naturally would not allow him to escape. Langya's sword chi became threads and then easily made this silly man dead, scattered ash and dust. Losing her contractor's star nest, Lei Yu was unable to resurrect after Hunyangzi slayed her. Her crimson star suddenly fell into Su Xing's body, and the heavenly wing fierce tiger immediately disappeared, howling in grief incessantly. "Wife, are you all right?" Hunyangzi lost her strength and fell from the sky. 3 consecutive dark rank flying star magpie dance was her limit, and this was thanks to the support of Su Xing's supercluster cultivation. Otherwise, how could 10 feet of blue have exerted herself so smoothly? Su Xing caught her, his expression brimming with deep concern. Although the pair had not known each other for long, to Su Xing, this was not a problem of time. Hunyangzi's apparently eternally gentle expression gazed at Su Xing somewhat oddly. Perhaps she had forced a contract onto a pretty good master, the bright star's heart deeply sighed. Nyangzi always will not disgrace dear husband. Su Xing smiled, understanding her intentions. Wife, will you go to the Black Turtle Sea? N. First, sleep well, forget those unpleasant things. Thank you. Hunyangzi's imperceptible smile instantly faded. At a corner of the Black Turtle Territory's Black Turtle Sea, there was an island known as Shin Fragrance. Shin Fragrance Island had a water fort constructed with 3 moats and high mountains in great numbers. This water fort was built into thousands of mountain walls. 4 palace halls each had their own characteristics, established across the mountain range. At first glance, they blended in with the mountains. Countless cultivators patrolled the halls of the mountain palaces, with hundreds of cultivators currently drilling in sword arrays across the several training grounds on the island, their power vast and awe-inspiring within 100 li of sea area. This water fort was known as 3 Ruan's Water Fort, 2, manifestly superior among the Black Turtle Sea's 88 water forts, and was also an up-and-coming sect, discussed with much renown among the water fort masters. On this day, the ocean waves split the sky. An enormously built alligator made a beeline for the 3 Ruan's water fort. This ancient dragon alligator was unexcelled, and the cultivators at the water fort were somewhat fearful just looking at it. Upon seeing the ancient dragon alligator's master, they withdrew even further away. Ruan Pinger rode the ancient dragon alligator straight through the water fort's front gate. The signboard on the gate had 3 bold characters written upon it, the Golden Lotus. 3. Second boss, you have returned. A subordinate said in surprise. And the big boss? Pinger asked. Currently inside the main hall, negotiating with the other fort masters. Take good care of my Pingzi. If it feels wronged in any way, I will feed you to him. Ruan Pinger showed an evil grin. Her counterpart shuddered. Clearly, he knew Ruan Pinger's personality. Turning over the ancient dragon alligator over for care, Ruan Pinger went straight for the main hall. The water fort's big boss Ruan Jiner, 5, was a considerably powerful and greedy woman. She was beautiful, and her eyes displayed her might. It was precisely because of her forceful methods that the 3 Ruan's water fort's range of influence already extended to several thousand of the Black Turtle Sea's islands, like the sun at noon. As early as the moment Ruan Pinger used the ancient alligator dragon's surfacing movements, Ruan Jiner knew that she had returned. It appeared this 5th sister again had suffered some provocation on the outside. Ruan Jiner was inwardly helpless. She dismissed the other island masters, cave masters, and fort masters. Elder Sister Jean. As expected, the main hall's doors were kicked open. Ruan Pinger had grievances all over her face as she dashed into Ruan Jiner's bosom, enjoying her ample softness while also grievously saying, Elder Sister Jean, decide for Pinger. Pinger, what disaster did you run into now? Did Elder Sister not inform you that the Black Turtle Territory has devil palaces and devil cults? If you provoke them, they will make Elder Sister very distressed. Ruan Jiner stroked Ruan Pinger's head, tenderly as if she was petting a kitten. Even her reproachful tone was full of doting. As if I would provoke those demons. Ruan Pinger was even more hurt. She naturally knew those devil cults handled things secretly and viciously. There was safety in their identities as star generals so long as they did not provoke the devil sex. But if they did, then truly, things would not be so peaceful. Then who has made Pinger feel wronged? Ruan Jiner smiled. A Star Master. Star Master. Ruan Jiner's smile froze. Yes, Pinger listened to Elder Sister's orders to go to Lone Dragon Mound to find that Black Turtle Temple that is a jack of all trades in information and found it. Mentioning Su Xing, Ruan Pinger had a somewhat fervently evil desire. That Star Master is Supercluster Stage only by himself and without having signed a Star Dual Covenant? Is he really Supercluster Stage? Ruan Jiner asked. All Star Generals had a reaction to their desired Star Master. 6, and in the case they signed a contract, they would become a comprehensive Star Master. 7. At the current stage, Star Masters that reached Supercluster Stage without signing a contract were outstanding talents beyond compare. Such a Star Master could only have been possibly nurtured by top-notch great sex. I did not see wrongly. Although in the end Husanyang came and stirred up trouble, she seemed to also have taken him away, I can be certain. Wan Pinger mentioned this with some anger. If it was not for her being unable to defeat Husanyang, that supercluster stage already would have been brought back to the water fort. Elder sister Jean, let us go capture him together. Wan Pinger's tone greatly had a sort of feeling as if she was treating Su Xing as a star beast. Wan Jiner's eyes narrowed, her eyes carrying some thoughtfulness. Pinger, it appears you really want to sign a contract? Not at all. I only want to bring him back to show him to Elder and Little Sister. Wan Pinger cruelly smiled. Maybe Elder and Little Sister will fancy him. We sisters are 3 people of the same mind. There is no need for any Star Master. Wan Jiner solemnly smiled, absolutely without any intent of kidding around. I know. Wan Pinger pursed her lips. As long as you know, however, supercluster stage Star Masters are indeed not too common at the current stage. Right now, the 3rd phase is already about to conclude. Pinger, pay attention. Understood. Wan Pinger affirmed. She looked around the main hall and asked, why do I not see 3rd sister? Mayor has gone to find the white stripe in the waves. That woman? Wan Pinger let out a cruel laugh. Whatever for. Zhang Shun is a powerful water general. If we can have her join our water fort, naturally, we will be like a tiger that has grown wings in the future star duels. And if we cannot, Wan Pinger evilly said. Wan Jiner confidently smiled. So long as she is alone, there will always be a way to make her do so. Under Hun Yangzi's directions, Su Xing very quickly found the Black Turtle Sea. However, upon seeing this Black Turtle Sea, Su Xing honestly was anxious. The Black Turtle Sea was boundless. This was the #1 sea in the Black Turtle territory, with no limit in its millions of li. The dangers of the sea included many 8th, 9th, and 10th rank demon beasts which were even more commonplace to encounter. To search for Gen Wu divine iron in such waters was no different from finding a needle in a haystack. Dear husband, what are you doing? The Hun Yangzi sitting on the blood-sweat silver hair horse said. Does wife know where to find Gen Wu divine iron? Su Xing suddenly wanted to change methods. Hun Yangzi shook her head. Su Xing also knew that he himself was somewhat delusional. Who would bring out something like the Gen Wu divine iron to trade? To sell it, it could only be at the treasure feast, but he did not have any more time to wait. Su Xing stated his objective. Hun Yangzi moved about the Black Turtle territory all year round. Clearly, she had her own perspective about things that happened in the Black Turtle Sea. Dear husband is taking too great a risk. Nyangzi has only heard of Gen Wu divine iron being at a depth of 10,000 li. The Black Turtle territory's top-notch cultivators do not dare rashly dive in. Hun Yangzi did not approve of Su Xing's methods. The Black Turtle Sea's depth of 10,000 li would have powerful water pressure. This water pressure would increase in strength by several hundredfold at a time. After millions of li, even supervoid cultivators would need to be cautious. Furthermore, the demon beasts in the deep sea were extremely vigorous. Rank 10 and above demon beasts all dwelled at the seafloor. There was no difference between going to the Black Turtle Sea's depths and going to hell. Unless dear husband has the assistance of a very powerful water-type star general, otherwise, Nyangzi will first of all stop dear husband from doing this. Hun Yangzi's tone allowed for no explanation, her face full of determination. She certainly did not wish to let Su Xing drown before she achieved her revenge. Su Xing had already made sufficient preparations before coming here. Tang Lianxin had refined a water avoidance pearl. 8, and Suen had refined several pills for the dive. Otherwise, Su Xing would never come up with this idea. I have my own propriety, I'll test this first. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Fine then. Hun Yangzi could only compromise and enter the star nest. Su Xing first ate one of the pills, and holding in one hand the water avoidance pearl, he released star energy to protect himself. He blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower, activating an Akala Wisdom King Vajra body technique. 9. This power was Buddhism's supreme grade defensive ability. It could allow the flesh to become sturdier than metal or stone. Impervious to blade and spear, impenetrable to water and fire, it was more powerful than some magic weapons. Originally, even if Su Xing used the 5 Dragons lantern to cultivate it, it would take a great amount of time, but with Zhao Hanyan's Bodhi holy fruit, in less than a day, he was already at the Hinayana realm. Only after everything had been prepared did Su Xing then take a deep breath and become an escape light that dove into the ocean depths. The Black Turtle Sea had water pressure, and the speed after the escape light flew down several tens of thousands of li slowed. Furthermore, at this time, the deep sea already could not see the slightest bit of light. The pitch darkness was just like the space of the 9 hells. Su Xing's divine intent gradually felt taxed under the effects of the water pressure, and he could only continuously retract its range. From 1,000 li to several dozen li. After a long while, the eating more than 10 Dragon King life conferring mind-returning pills, 10 along the way, Su Xing only felt a terrifying force squeeze him. Like 10,000 mountains, his star energy defense had long already crumbled. Su Xing relied on his toughened body to resist. Legends said this Black Turtle Sea was spat out by the Black Turtle Divine Beast. This seawater was immersed in the Black Turtle's power for 10,000 years. Each droplet of the seawater had the heaviness of 1,000 caddies, not at all a river. However, it was precisely because of this that the Black Turtle Sea could create Liangshan Continent's divine iron that was top-notch in hardness. The deeper a person went, the more it felt like they were being encased in cement, stifled and unable to breathe. If it was not for Su Xing possessing star nests that were nearly superior to Liangshan Continent's supervoid cultivators, his consciousness that was powerful to such an abnormal degree, after the depth of 600,000 li, he would have already been squeezed into a meaty pulp. Dear husband. Hunyangzi's voice already was somewhat irascible. Su Xing indifferently continued to dive further. It was difficult to imagine that Liangshan Continent's ocean depths could be so deep. The Earth's ocean depths could not be compared at all. At a rough estimate, perhaps it was at a depth of about 800,000 li. Only then did Su Xing finally encounter a ground of muddy sand. At this time, Su Xing extended his divine consciousness to encompass a range of barely even a bit outside of his body. The star energy of his whole body was being consumed by a sort of formless pressure at a terrifying rate. Su Xing once again ingested pills, and walking along the ocean floor, the sensation of being in water and on land was completely different. He made progress with great difficulty, unable to move a single step, particularly in the surrounding darkness. However, Su Xing still could sense ice-cold presences in this world of deep darkness. Perhaps it was those demon beasts. Dear husband, do not force yourself. Hunyangzi was somewhat jittery. If I shrink back at even this little thing, how can you still mention revenge? Su Xing asked back. Bright Star 10 feet of blue was stunned, and no longer did she speak words of giving up. Although they had reached the ocean depths, the next thing to do was find Zhen Wu Divine Iron, which also made Su Xing feel awkward. With the ocean being so deep, how should he go search? Now that things were at this stage, he could only slowly progress. A little more than a month should do? Penetrating past the 15th layer of the tomb, Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan finally arrived at the final floor after enduring countless hardships. Good heavens, it never ends. If we go any further, this young lady is about to go mad. The feeling of staying in this ancient tomb for a long time made Shi Yuan, the best thief under heaven, somewhat unable to continue. This should be the final floor. Wu Xinjie smiled. If only, elder sister. Shi Yuan was helpless. This young lady certainly does not wish to spend this month entirely on this ancient tomb. Although it was a legendary 7 great ancient tomb, the final floor's stone gate was very simple. The surroundings had 2 connecting heaven beast totems. Wu Xinjie did not need much thought to open the final layer's gate. The 2 girls held their breath, and even Hua Shui's whole body was on guard. The instant the door opened, the scene that greeted them immediately made the pair stunned. What appeared in Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan's eyes was an unbelievably bizarre subterranean world. Below was a boundless black abyss, a refined palace hall, very imposing warrior and horse statues, and every sort of funerary beast and figurine hung suspended in the air. These warrior and horse statues still kept a first-rate appearance. The weapons and armored horses were all poised to kill. Taking survey of everything, these statues were densely packed and numerous, a magnificent army not just in name but in reality. Besides these floating chariots, soldier and beast statues, a continuous palace hall was even more jaw-dropping. That palace hall's entirety exceeded a kilometer in size, its whole body a jade white, emitting a cold glint in this underground mausoleum, with its jade rooms and jasper buildings, perfect sculptures and detailed paintings. As far as the eye could see, how could this be a tomb at all? It was obviously the palace of an immortal. Even the experienced and knowledgeable Knowledge Star and the well-traveled Thief Star were stupefied, stunned. Truly, what a pity that young Lord did not come, otherwise, he definitely would have been very happy. Wu Xinjie muttered to herself. Su Xing always held a certain interest in all of Liangshan's mysteries. Perhaps he would be wild over something like these hovering statues inside of a palace within a 10,000 zhang abyss. Even her own blood was boiling. Shi Yuan swept away her previous dejection, finally understanding why this tomb would be called one of Liangshan continent's 7 great ruins. Seeing these millions of hovering troops, horses, and palaces, they truly seemed to lead to the heavenly temple. Without mentioning the dozen or so floors from before, even 100 floors would have been worth it. Right now is the time for this young lady to fully display her skills. Shi Yuan rubbed her palms and wringed her wrists, long already impatient. Seeing that enormous main hall's domineering size, she imagined that the treasures inside would be many. Careful! Wu Xinjie reminded her about the abyss at their feet. There was no hope of reprieve should they tumble down. Shi Yuan patted her chest, an expression of, "Leave it to me. Little Qi," she called, and the 3 burrows crafty rabbit hopped out. "Take a look for me." The 3 burrows crafty rabbit nodded, opening its 3 eyes wide, becoming a specter. The 3 burrows crafty rabbit possessed the ability to scan for traps and react to treasures. Under its guidance, they could save a lot of trouble. "Let us go then," Wu Xinjie said, releasing a flight astral tool, entering this connecting heaven ancient tomb together. Probably a short while after they left, a woman quietly walked over. She wore an exquisite, blue skin-tight palace dress that outlined her slender figure. The corners of her skirt separated, like lightly dancing waves. The girl's hair was not only extremely long, it was also especially beautiful. Her ice blue hair cascaded past her but, just like a waterfall amidst ice and snow, emitting bits of ice. Her pupils, too, were icy, and her lips were cold, making one feel a sort of chill within. Is this the connecting heaven ancient tomb? It is truly decorated quite elegantly, however, why do I still feel that an explosion is even more beautiful? A young girl walked out from the void. She had a long, golden ponytail, and she had a sexy figure and clothing. She showed a toothy grin, speaking aloud. "Han Bing, what do we do now? Do we greet the sisters?" The young girl blinked, a very expectant expression. The thief Star Shiqian. Monitor them for the time being. The girl named Han Bing narrowed her slender eyes, gazing at the end of the ancient tomb. "Dear husband, careful." While Wu Xinjie and Shi Yuan finally saw the connecting heaven ancient tomb, Su Xing's search for Zhen Wu divine iron in the Black Turtle Sea was not so successful. He had not been searching for the needle in a haystack for long. Just as Su Xing was searching for materials inside the seafloor's reef, the stone beneath his feet suddenly revolted, opening an enormous mouth to swallow Su Xing. The Su Xing that had been tormented to extreme weakness by the close to million-li deep sea completely was too late against this swift as lightning reaction and was swallowed. Hu Nianzi anxiously blurted out, and the girl emerged from the star nest. Golden wind and morning dew danced and crossed. Before that demon beast could bring Su Xing to its stomach, a snowflake-like saber-chi flew out in volumes. Then, 12 golden sword lights broke out of its body. The demon beast spat out Su Xing and Hu Nianzi in pain. "It still isn't dead?" Su Xing was stunned. that demon beast furiously opened its mouth again. In a split second, an inexhaustible suction rushed towards its mouth. The seawater was completely sucked into it, and the powerful suction made Su Xing somewhat unable to budge. Have some purple mansion immortal thunder. Su Xing's 5 fingers snapped. 5 purple thunder dragon pythons struck. The powerful and scathing purple thunder pulled incomparably thin by the deep sea's attractive force, and by the time it reached the gigantic demon beast's mouth, it was just like an offering of tasty little fish. Su Xing said, "Fuck." He controlled heaven tearing in preparation to go clash, but his control over these flying swords was much more difficult than on land. The powerful pressure forced Su Xing's use of flying swords or other abilities to require even greater energy expenditure than normal. This meant that flying swords completely lost their edge. The gigantic demon beast's mouth fiercely sucked, and an airflow entered its bottomless mouth. Hunyangzi was slightly pulled over. In the water, the bright star's weakness was not necessarily as easy as Su Xing. Su Xing could be considered to have tasted the terror of the 10,000-li deep sea. Immediately, he raised the green lotus peak. Because all abilities suffered pressure in the deep sea, they would be substantially weakened, and prehistoric spirit treasures were no exception. However, Su Xing's green lotus peak was inherently categorized as that sort of powerful spirit treasure. The green lotus peak rapidly enlarged in the water. The moment the spirit treasure emerged, those airflow being sucked in immediately slowed, greatly easing the burden on Su Xing and Hu Sanyang. The giant demon beast felt fear, retracting its mouth, about to flee. The green lotus peak's flames ignited, and the giant peak pressed down, squishing this demon beast into meat paste, and a pellet appeared. Su Xing retrieved it in passing. Panting before he could feel happiness for killing this demon beast, but fuck. How could he be happy when he had only just encountered his first demon beast and had to use the prehistoric spirit treasure? Su Xing consumed a pill to replenish his star energy. Before he had even half a moment to relax, an incorporeal pressure attacked from all sides. "Dear husband, hurry and flee." Hu Sanyang shouted. The golden light and blue flame of the double sabers became even more intense. The green lotus peak's enormous quaking had roused the deep sea's demon beasts. Tens of thousands of black monster fish swam over. Su Xing only heard a rumble come from every direction. The ocean depths shook, and some demon beasts that had only been snooping on Su Xing immediately escaped without a trace. "Run quickly!" Su Xing sensed something formidable, immediately speaking. Without hesitation, he turned around and escaped towards the ocean surface. In the ocean depths, a monstrous call was increasingly frightening. A school of spiny monster fish tumbled over each other as they bit their way over. Su Xing attacked with several bolts of Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, destroying close to 100 fishes, but the numbers of these spiny monster fish were too numerous. Several detonations were unable to support such a menacing charge. The spiny monster fish's charge looked to be nearly unstoppable. Continuously flying several dozen li, Su Xing suddenly noticed the pressure of the monster fish had abated, not pursuing. Just as he felt this was odd, he turned his head to look. To his astonishment, Hu Sanyang was not following him, rather, she turned around and stayed where she was, serving as bait. Bright star 10 feet of blue's double sabers danced. The saber chi was gorgeously slashed out. All of the spiny monster fish were killed into disordered heaps, and immediately afterwards, another bunch of countless monster fish filled the gap, seemingly endless. Hunyangzi's saber technique began to become weak, and her body techniques gradually slowed. After all, she was not a water general at all. Every wave of her blade in a deep-sea battle required her maximum concentration, but 10 feet of blue's eyes were fiery, completely without fear, thinking only of letting Su Xing quickly escape. The tide surged with a gurgle. An even more expansive black tide pounced over. Hunyangzi powerlessly raised her double sabers. The black tide swallowed her. Hunyangzi was already prepared to star release when just at this moment, a golden dragon rolled around her body, creating a gap. "What are you doing?" Su Xing appeared in front of her. Hunyangzi changed. "Dear husband, what are you doing by coming back?" Nonsense, what would I do by not coming back? Su Xing's expression was very unsightly. Hu Nyangzi felt bewildered. The demon beast monster fishes here are too numerous. Nyangzi will protect. Dear husband can leave first. Saying this, she was about to attack the invading black tide. Her white wrist was firmly seized. Su Xing did not hesitate at all to carry her away and use the escape technique to escape upwards. Dear husband? Hu Nyangzi was stunned, not understanding why Su Xing would rescue her. So long as the contractor that the Star General signed a contract with did not die, then neither could the Star General be destroyed. Now that the danger was critical, using her as bait could not be any more appropriate. Otherwise, the both of them could possibly lose their life in this place. If you can live, then why must you die? Su Xing coldly answered her conjectures. Forming a hand seal, the 12 heaven-tearing cried out a shaking dragon roar. Su Xing repeatedly used his powers, Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, the heaven-tearing flying swords, and every sort of magic weapon without any reservation. But the true name of these spiny monster fish was Nether Fish. The overlord of the sea depths of 10,000 li individual nether fish were unable to withstand a single blow, but in greater numbers, in the case they found prey, they would fight to the last gasp. This was also a reason why even though people knew the Black Turtle Sea's ocean floor had Gen Wu Divine Iron, few people would face this risk. The black tide quickly was about to submerge them, and Su Xing gnashed his teeth. In the deep sea, all of his abilities were substantially weakened, otherwise, things would be unlikely to be this bad. Could it be he had to use the chaotic escape technique again? Just as he was considering this, Hu Nyangzi's expression flashed with an irascible light. Suddenly, she waved a hand, and the golden jade short saber shot forth. What are you doing? Su Xing was surprised. Hu Nyangzi did not answer. That short saber revolved around their surroundings, the flowing golden light appearing especially dazzling in this pitch-dark ocean depth. The short saber became a storm that wrapped around the two. Su Xing immediately felt the pressure lessen. He promptly used the escape technique at full power. A golden wind and sharp sword pierced through. In the blink of an eye, they broke free of the danger zone. Those nether fishes did not continue their chase, and they could only wretchedly shriek as they gradually dove back into the depths. Let's go back first for now. Su Xing panted. This Gen Wu Divine Iron is indeed not so easy. If we can have a water general, then dear husband can be at ease. Hu Nyangzi said. Did Nyangzi disturb the matter between dear husband and Ruan Xiaowu? The bright star carelessly moved. It was nothing. Su Xing smiled. To speak of water generals, other than Ruan Xiaowu from before, he recalled the white stripe in the waves that he had met inside Evil Smiting Hall. The girl gave him a pretty good impression. He had heard then that she was also at the Black Turtle Territory, but with the Black Turtle Territory being so large, to find her was not too realistic. Hu Nyangzi said no more. Golden wind tore apart the white waves. Su Xing and Hu Nyangzi breached the water's surface into the sunlight. At the same time, Su Xing conveniently caught sight of a young girl currently laying on the sea, in the middle of a relaxing backstroke. Her fair skin was not covered by a single thread, and her youthful body appeared especially moving in the middle of the azure sea. Every place on the girl's body could be seen at once. Su Xing was tongue-tied. The young girl similarly was stupefied. Su Xing, Zhang Yuqi, too, the both of them shouted at the same time. There was no way she could be this erotic, right? Su Xing lowered his head to look at the completely threadbare Zhang Yuqi. Zhang Yuqi was in the middle of bathing naked in the Black Turtle Sea's dangerous waters, lazily basking in the sun, not afraid that anyone would come disturb her with the urgent sea's white spirit python guarding the surroundings. How could she have foreseen that someone would breach from the depths of the dangerous sea, and that it would be someone she was familiar with? White stripe in the wave Zhang Yuqi temporarily thought that her eyes were deceiving her. Thus, she froze at that place, not hiding her body, plainly allowing Su Xing to see everything. Suddenly feeling the substantial scorch of Su Xing's gaze, only then did Zhang Yuqi wake up. However, she did not scream, angrily curse, or show any such exaggerated emotion as Su Xing had anticipated. Zhang Yuqi giggled, dove beneath the waves, and when she reappeared, she already put on a sexy outfit. Hey, Su Xing, did you turn into a voyeur because there's no one to help give you a blowjob this time? Zhang Yuqi used deliberate straightforwardness to cover the slight bit of bashfulness that girls naturally possessed. Even when she had been completely seen by Su Xing, she did not forget to find a facade. Su Xing laughed. Like Zhang Yuqi, he thought that he was dreaming. Just as I was missing you, I never thought that I would bump into you, Yuqi. Truly, we are connected by fate. However, you're too casual upon meeting, letting me see such a sexy figure. The Urgent Sea's white spirit python already returned at this time. Zhang Yuqi sat her butt on the serpent, kicking her legs, engrossingly said, "Am I really sexy?" Su Xing nodded. "You truly are a melodramatic man." Damaged star Zhang Yuqi covered her mouth. "In short, if you aren't having a little sister give you a blowjob, then you're peeping at my naked body." Upon seeing her raise that topic, Su Xing bluntly said, "Last time you peeped from the ocean depths, this time, it's my turn. This is truly fair." Zhang Yuqi suddenly noticed the Husan Yang who had been continuously standing at Su Xing's side with a very cold expression. Winking, she said, "Don't tell me you got a new lover?" "How could I? This is my wife, Bright Star 10 feet of blue Hunyangzi." Su Xing introduced her. "And that little sister thief Star?" Zhang Yuqi was perplexed. "She's occupied for the time being and isn't here." Su Xing said. "Really?" Zhang Yuqi smiled. "Do you feel like I'm fooling you?" White stripe in the waves. Zhang Yuqi pretended to seriously ponder this possibility for a moment, and then she made her conclusion. "I seem to feel that I shouldn't believe anything a man that peeps at my body says." Su Xing knew this damaged star's personality. The words of her mouth were very unforgiving. The more you tangled with her, the more excited she would be, probably. Seeing the Husan Yang to the side show a strange expression, Su Xing said, "I'll tell you afterwards what happened with you, honor." Hunyangzi nodded. "Little sister, greetings. I'm damaged star white stripe in the waves Zhang Yuqi. You have to be careful of this man at your side. He likes to make star maidens give him blowjobs." Zhang Yuqi giggled. Hunyangzi's face turned red, and her expression was very strange. "Zhang Yuqi," Su Xing glared at her, "do you like blowjobs so much?" "He's mad." Zhang Yuqi covered her mouth. "Dear husband, that matter?" Bright Star Hunyangzi reminded the two that now was not the time to flirt. Su Xing had all of a sudden nearly forgot. "Zhang Yuqi, you still haven't signed a contract? Right? Yuqi can't find a man that can make Yuqi give a blowjob." Zhang Yuqi sighed. Heaven knew if her words were true or false. Su Xing directly ignored her blowjob statement, sternly asking, "Can you help me out with something? I'll owe you a favor, how about it?" "What thing? A blowjob is off limits." Zhang Yuqi giggled. Su Xing wildly perspired. For the first time, he regretted being seen by her that time. "I want to go get Gen Wu Divine Iron." "This is your leisurely sunbathing anyways, Gen Wu Divine Iron?" Zhang Yuqi said, "So that's how it is. This thing only exists in the depths of the Black Turtle Sea. How about it? You can go 10,000 li deep, right?" Su Xing said. Hunyangzi wrinkled her brows as she listed to the side, feeling Su Xing's style of invitation was unavoidably too unreasonable. He was but a star master. To go make an uncontracted star general help him was practically a fantasy. The threat of martial force was the best method. A depth of 10,000 li doesn't count as anything, but Yuqi suddenly feels her body is very sore. Zhang Yuqi's eyeballs craftily turned. She collapsed weakly onto the Urgent Sea's white spirit python, somewhat unable to withstand the sunlight. "You first help massage Yuqi." "If Yuqi feels good," Hunyangzi stared. Su Xing flashed by and hopped onto the Urgent Sea's white spirit python. "Do you really want me to give you a massage?" Su Xing chuckled. "No can do if it doesn't feel good," Zhang Yuqi said. Su Xing took in a slight breath. Since the person involved did not have any complaints, What could he grumble about? Zhang Yuqi gently undid the strings on her body. Losing the support of her top garment, Zhang Yuqi's spotlessly white back was reflected in Su Xing's eyes. Su Xing raised his brows, somewhat surprised. The white stripe in the waves was worthy of the name White Stripe in the Waves. Her flesh was especially snow-white, and in the moment she undressed, it was a practically blinding white, even that a direct look had a sort of profane feeling. Su Xing eased his mind, yet his heart unexpectedly somewhat sped up. Zhang Yuqi's charm originally was incomparable, and with Su Xing like this now, it could be said that this was the most intimate feeling in the world towards Zhang Yuqi's each and every move. No wonder he felt his chest was very stifled. "You've thought clearly," Su Xing once again repeated his question, unable to understand just what idea she had. "Su Xing, don't tell me you're still shy? I certainly have always really wanted to know how Yuqi would feel when she is served by the Star Master that can make little sisters serve him." Zhang Yuqi closed her eyes, the corner of her lips wearing a captivating smile. Her long eyelashes jumped because of her cheerful mood. How could Su Xing have known that after he left Evil Smiting Hall, Zhang Yuqi often would think of Shi Yuan's mien at that time? This, to the White Stripe in the Waves, was a very big shock. No wonder she would remember the blowjob so vividly, mention it so often. All right. Su Xing also felt that he was too apprehensive. He did not care that much. He first brought out a white lotion and smeared it on his hands. "What is this?" Zhang Yuqi did not understand. "This is spirit lotion, very beneficial for the skin." Su Xing said. "You're rather attentive." Zhang Yuqi giggled. Su Xing harumphed and then rubbed Zhang Yuqi's glossy back. When his fingertips touched Zhang Yuqi's pure white back, a sort of electric current pervaded his whole body. Su Xing shuddered and took a deep breath. Zhang Yuqi's body simply was unimaginably soft. From barely a touch, the blood in his body accelerated, and a sort of hormone erupted even harder. How is her skin so soft? It's inconceivably glossier than silk. Zhang Yuqi moaned, closing her eyes. This was not at all the first time Su Xing was in such intimate contact. After his brief awkwardness, he restrained the sense of charm in his mind, concentrating on putting himself into helping apply lotion to Zhang Yuqi. The lotion slipped along the girl's back. His palms gently rubbed, relying on that innate skill medical arts that he inherited from Ensuwen. Su Xing still remembered some acupuncture points that were of great benefit to massages, and in accordance with Earth's acupuncture point massages, he stroked bit by bit. Zhang Yuqi slightly opened her eyes, casting a glance behind her, her cheeks crimson. She herself was not even aware that the grin on her face was somewhat charming. Immediately, she slowly closed her eyes, comfortably saying, "Su Xing, your handiwork is pretty good. I even thought you were a careless man." "Ah." Su Xing smiled. "It's appropriate to grasp the seriousness of things. This isn't very hard. If you're willing, I can even make you feel even better." Su Xing's words were somewhat dubious. Zhang Yuqi did not understand. How good? Even better than a blowjob. It was Su Xing's turn to deride her. Only then did Zhang Yuqi understand what Su Xing's so-called "feel even better" meant. She chuckled, not responding. She closed her eyes and enjoyed Su Xing's massage. The gentle touch of his fingertips made Zhang Yuqi's whole body limp. Her chest was gently brushed by those fingertips, bringing a strange stimulation. Slowly, the snow-white skin of Zhang Yuqi's whole body carried fiery red clouds. Her body was very hot. Zhang Yuqi suddenly somewhat regretted allowing Su Xing to massage her. That man's hands seemingly had magic. He straddled her and Zhang Yuqi could even feel a hard object pressing against her rear. How could she not know what that thing was? Following every exertion of Su Xing's fingers, that hard thing would directly strike her sensitive spot, causing her to become slightly moist. Although Zhang Yuqi really wanted to stop him, this kind of feeling honestly was unprecedented. To have Su Xing stop, what broke away from her throat would be an alluring moan. Su Xing used the finger technique that Ensuwen once massaged him with. How could Zhang Yuqi not taste defeat under this sort of fingering? Hunyangzi watched from the side, red in the face and ears, her brows locked tight, somewhat unable to make sense of the situation before her. White stripe in the waves unexpectedly allowed a star master to undertake such audacious actions. Just what was this Su Xing's identity? And he even had that thief star give him a blowjob. Hunyangzi recalled when Su Xing rushed over to save her in the deep sea. Her heart shuddered, vaguely understanding just a bit. After a very long massage, Zhang Yuqi was somewhat unable to bear it. Su Xing also was burning with a little bit of desire. Just at this moment, the urgent sea's white spirit python let out a hiss. Su Xing and Zhang Yuqi simultaneously sensed something was not right. Su Xing immediately ended the massage, and Zhang Yuqi rose. Far away, several dozen sword light were currently flying over them again. Zhang Yuqi pursed her lips. Who are they? Su Xing asked. The 3 Ruan's water fort. Zhang Yuqi answered, suddenly noticing Su Xing's gaze was glued to her chest. Zhang Yuqi lowered her head and yelped. She had temporarily forgotten to wear a top, so the erotic sight of her breasts was completely exposed. Instantly, the cultivators of the 3 Ruan's water fort arrived in front of them. These cultivators wore blue robes, and some were dressed as fishermen. Their cultivations were impressive, and the leader was a silent as stone woman. She was beautiful, wore an irregularly patterned dress, and she straddled a sea dragon beast. The weapon she held in her hand was a dragon-headed dagger, with 4 twinkling stars. Dragon King Dagger. 3. Su Xing was greatly surprised upon seeing that star weapon. The ranked 31st defeats Star Living King Yama Ruan Xiaoqi. Su Xing restrained the urge to use the birth treasure outline, so as to avoid giving rise to unexpected twists and turns. Hunyangzi's eyes were vigilant, secretly gripping her double sabers as she blocked in front of Su Xing defeats Star Ruan Xiaoqi glanced at everyone. Seeing Su Xing and Hu Sanyang, that stone-like appearance showed astonishment, but she recovered extremely quickly. Immediately afterwards, her gaze again returned to Zhang Yuqi. Zhang Yuqi, will you not introduce this man? Mayor of Fight? There is no need for this. He has nothing to do with you people. Zhang Yuqi smiled. Oh, Zhang Yuqi, then have you carefully considered elder sister's offer? Defeat Star Ruan Xiaoqi indifferently asked. Zhang Yuqi likes to be alone, free and easy. I fear I am not suitable for recruitment into the water fort. For little sister's kind intentions, elder sister appreciates but politely refuses. Zhang Yuqi thanks you. Zhang Yuqi slightly smiled. Ruan Xiaoqi was silent. Elder sister knew that elder sister Yuqi would refuse, so she had Mayor ask elder sister for the privilege of going to the water fort to reminisce. No need, Yuqi often turns everything over once she is drunk. If Yuqi damaged the water fort, that would not be good. Zhang Yuqi's words carried a trace of menace. The expressions of the 3 Ruan's water fort cultivators changed, yet no one dared say anything. Damage Star White Stripe in the waves Zhang Yuqi was also a renowned aquatic general. If she truly wished to destroy the water fort, perhaps she could not be stopped. Elder sister Yuqi makes things very difficult for Mayor. Ruan Mayor wrinkled her brow. Could it be that elder sister Yuqi does not wish to work with us for a common purpose? Elder sister said that once the Black Turtle Temple opens, if there is no one to support you, elder sister Zhang Yuqi will not walk very far. Many thanks for the reminder, but Yuqi has already found someone. Zhang Yuqi smiled. Is it this Star Master? Ruan Mayor expressionlessly gazed at Su Xing, whose Sanyang's double sabers were in her hands, golden wind and morning dew shining brightly. Elder sister Yuqi surprisingly believes in a Star Master? Little sister must know of Yuqi's star weapon? Zhang Yuqi suddenly smiled. On her middle finger appeared a gorgeous, water blue ring. This ring's faint glow swept across Ruan Mayor and Su Xing's bodies. It circulated 4 stars. 4-star white water mirror heart. Su Xing was astonished. Although Su Xing is a bit lustful, he is a man. Generally, this means he wants to create a harem. It's unavoidable, but in all other aspects, he is clearly even more comforting to elder sister than little sister can be. Only then did Su Xing understand the massage just now really was not Zhang Yuqi actually wishing to enjoy it. She merely exploited this sort of intimate skin contact to test him. If he was an average man, not only would he be flustered over the massage, he would even unavoidably take audacious actions when confronted with Zhang Yuqi's completely defenseless back. Su Xing's body might as well have reacted a bit too stiffly. Everything else he showed was exceptionally perfect. This damaged star-white stripe in the waves was all smiles on the surface, but on the inside, she was considerably meticulous. It seemed she honestly could not be underestimated. Worthy of the one who possessed the white water mirror heart. Juan Mayer had no words to say. White water mirror heart was capable of sensing the inner good and evil of her counterpart. Because of this, Zhang Yuqi was always incapable of finding a star master that was to her liking. Since Zhang Yuqi said that Su Xing made her more at ease, this proved her words were true. Everyone was silent for a moment. Defeat star living King Yama. Juan Mayer said to Su Xing, "There is no other way if elder sister Yuqi says so." However, Mayer also worries for elder sister. Would it not be better to let Mayer test if this man has the qualifications to protect elder sister? This way, Mayer can return and report back to elder sister. Zhang Yuqi shrugged her shoulders, actually appearing indifferent. She looked to Su Xing, laughing into her sleeve. "My darling young six. Su, what do you think? What is there to waste breath on? Directly begin your attack." Hun Yangzi blocked in front, her murderous aura appearing. Su Xing patted her shoulder, hinting to Hu Sanyang to not be impulsive. "Do you dare accept?" Juan Mayer said. "This wife represents dear husband. Do not waste your breath, make your move." Hun Yangzi raised her double sabers. "Then allow Mayer to personally come test you." Juan Mayer leapt down from the Dragon King beast. The next moment, several dozen magnificent arcs of wind launched from Juan Mayer's Dragon King dagger, turning the entire sea into an ocean of wind and fire. The green hurricane blew great waves on the ocean's surface. Su Xing and Zhang Yuqi retreated a certain distance, leaving the space to them. Having just emerged from the deep sea, Su Xing's present state was not that good. Thus he allowed Hun Yangzi to go confront the heavenly star. The golden wind and morning dew double sabers slashed out layer after layer of murderous chi. The aura of death the double sabers created was similarly incapable of completely absorbing into the entire battlefield, permeating across the flow of the hurricane's killing intent. Killing intents rolled about. Juan Mayer was very calm, placing the Dragon King dagger in front of her. A hurricane flowed out that covered her in a barrier of wind. Her whole body was enveloped within this barrier of wind, yet Juan Mayer's clothes were not damaged at all. A disdainful sneer. Saber light danced, and a ray of blue directly penetrated that defense, treating the barrier of wind as if it did not exist. This was Bright Star 10 feet of blue's yellow rank saber technique, hate transmission. Hate transmission's saber technique could ignore defenses to a large degree. Juan Mayer immediately felt her body begging to twitch. Then she felt pain, and subsequently she tasted a difficult-to-endure suffering. That kinds was as if her soul had been set aflame. She was swallowed by an unforgettable pain, which directly came from the level of the spirit. The flowing, torrential killing intent covered her. Juan Mayer's only choice was to escape using all of her strength. Even if she had the occasional chance to engage in close combat, she still could only give up. Under the attack of such intense hate, normal flesh wounds would instantly be healed, but if she was incapable of killing in a single blow, her attack completely lacked meaning. She needed to create time to grasp that unknown determination. Juan Mayer's hard expression flickered with a radiance that completely lacked doubt about this judgment. Then, the Hun Yangzi who similarly understood this point could not be considered as giving her opponent any chances. The Bright Star's strength obtained success with a single stroke. The instant 10 feet of blue waved her blade, the girl would not hold back at all. With every shake of her double sabers, the battlefield would erupt with a stormy blue, crushing her target as if she was a mountain bearing down on her. Under this surging attack, the wind barrier protecting living King Yama began to gradually weaken. She appeared to be just like a leaf about to be submerged in stormy waters, alarming the other people from the Three Ruans water fort. Yuan Mei finally shook apart Hunyangzi's pressure. A beam of cold light flashed past her eyes. Now, she hovered in the air above the ocean. Yellow technique, Dragon King's thundering roar. 7. The Dragon King dagger appeared once again. The ocean rolled and turned, and Hu Sanyang was surrounded and forced back by the surging tide. For the next wave, so long as she attacked with full power, the protection of those double sabers definitely would very quickly collapse. The battle had only just begun. Under the urging of Yuan Mei's divine intent, the seawater formed a water dragon that pounced like a living beast. The enormous momentum struck Hu Sanyang into the air. Then, just when the defeat star planned to destroy Hu Sanyang's defenses, an abrupt stop without any warning nevertheless made the embattled living King Yama distracted for an instant. How is this possible? The shout that broke free of Yuan Mei's mouth carried slight astonishment. At the same time, an ice-cold and sharp expression flashed across Hunyangzi's eyes. Su Xing was currently closely monitoring Hu Sanyang's each and every move. If she had any sign of being at a disadvantage, Su Xing would not hesitate at all to act. Seeing him that concerned, Zhang Yuqi laughed. Bright star 10 feet of blue Hu Sanyang, an earthly star 4 heavenly king. Just how did you contract her? Can you contract too? She is my 10th wife. Su Xing corrected her mistake. Your 10th wife. Are you truly so unfaithful in love that you don't fear ruining your flute? Zhang Yuqi smiled. Clearly, she did not know that the 10th Su Xing spoke of was a star general. Su Xing was silent. Zhang Yuqi, when will your mouth be sweeter? Could it be that sweeter means that blowing will feel even better? Zhang Yuqi nearly split her sides laughing. Does little sister thief Star actually have things to do? Zhang Yuqi asked. What's the point of deceiving you? Next time, I'll take you over to see her. Su Xing said candidly. Then I'll believe you. Zhang Yuqi still felt that Su Xing suddenly contracting Hunyangzi was somewhat an exaggeration. Asking about the course of events leading to their contract, apparently, it was even more irregular. Right, Yuqi, want to sign a contract with me? Su Xing asked. Right now, he felt as if he had an unlimited contracts bug. 8. He did not mind contracting with star maidens he had a favorable opinion of. By doing so, he could avoid future star duels. You are honestly unfaithful, having already contracted 2. Zhang Yuqi shook her head. I have contracted 10. Su Xing reminded. 10? Do you mean to say the 10 wives you just spoke of are all? Zhang Yuqi was shaken. Su Xing nodded. Zhang Yuqi pursed her lips. How could she believe this kind of fantasy? And what if I actually can contract then? Su Xing asked. Yuqi will not contract with you. Zhang Yuqi seriously replied. Why? Su Xing was bewildered. Because I'm unable to do blowjobs. Zhang Yuqi laughed aloud. Su Xing had a sort of urge to push her down, to make her have her fill of blows. I can't stand you. Shaking his head, his gaze returned to Hu Sanyang and Yuan Mei's battle. Pressured to verge of utter defeat by Hu Sanyang's double sabers, the defeat star was very clear that the top priority was to keep the bright star far away from herself, and to not give her opponent any chances to land a single lethal strike. This, living King Yama thoroughly understood. At the same time Dragon King's thunderous roar flew over, living King Yama once again raised the Dragon King dagger. The 4-star destined weapon let out a dragon roar. Her surroundings blew with a gale. Not only this, but the Dragon King dagger in defeat star living King Yama Yuan Mei's hands instantly dimmed. Suddenly, as if in response, the green light of the Dragon King dagger in her hands was increasingly concentrated, gradually forming a dragon head. With pinpricks of light for glowering eyes, it was just like that most brilliant North Star in the pitch-dark sky. Living King Yama staked everything on this, unexpectedly concentrating all of her star energy. After unleashing her first yellow rank, the second dark rank star magic already was following up. Following Dragon King's thunderous roar, the double sabers were glimpsed for that instant. Then, defeat star Yuan Mei finally launched her powerful attack. Dark rank technique. Azure Dragon breaking Eastern Wind. 9. Ruan Mayer's wrist suddenly shook. The Dragon King's stave's azure dragon flew out, turning into the sharpest weapon under the guidance of the gale and tsunamis. It cut apart the turbulent waves, pierced through the stagnant air, instantly crossing over the entire battlefield, shooting directly at Husanyang's heart. The attack that concentrated all of Defeat Star living King Yama Ruan Mayer's power seemingly stifled the surrounding air. It was fully loaded with an absolutely terrifying penetrative power, and Hunyangzi could only evade. With the situation critical, the double sabers became an illusory arc, finally interlocking with the whirling azure dragon killing intent, but the short saber known as Morning Dew nevertheless easily cut it apart. In an instant, that short saber was used in place of a shield. The azure dragon bit onto the short saber, and in that instant, the light of Morning Dew was thoroughly devoured. Not only Husanyang herself, but even the Defeat Star was considerably surprised. The bright star had surprisingly sacrificed the protection of her double sabers. In this surprising instant, a gap was completely visible. The decisive moment already had been produced, and the next thing to do was to take it. Hunyangzi's eyes burned with a scarlet flame the color of blood, suddenly seizing upon her chance. The other golden wind manifested in even more exaggerated and brilliant light. Not good. Defeat Star Ruan Mayer was startled, leaking cold sweat. She immediately spun the Dragon King dagger. A giant green aura of death became an azure dragon that covered her, like the fangs of a savage hungry wolf on the prairie against the horizon. The next moment, Hunyangzi's eyes drew two shining light trails in the air. The bright star demonstrated her light smoke dance steps. Her alluring figure moved at a speed incapable of being followed by the naked eye, passing by the rolling substantive killing intent. The surging azure dragon killing intent even was incapable of hitting the afterimages that trailed after her. In the span of the blink of an eye, that gale already flit across the entire grounds, directly shooting for the startled Ruan Mayer. She honestly could choose her moment. Ruan Mayer's brows wrinkled. She already was incapable of using her dark rank technique any further. Her burst of continuous star energy had started to weaken due to the dark rank from earlier. Regardless of how she attacked with star magic, Hunyangzi still nevertheless charged towards this place with her utmost. Now, the only choice was to engage in hand-to-hand combat. If you do not think this can easily reach success in one smooth stroke, then you are gravely mistaken. King Yama demands blood. Ruan Mayer's eyes were completely fearless. Living King Yama was just like her nickname. Outside of very high attainment in star magic, her martial force also was not to be underestimated. The instant Husanyang's high leap fiercely slashed down from midair, the shrieking blades of wind from the Defeat Star's Dragon King dagger soared into the sky, carrying a pure golden light. A great expanse of red sprinkled towards her head. Under the blossoming sunlight, it bloomed. Ruan Mayer's attack injured Hunyangzi, and it was at the moment Hunyangzi was completely launching her attack. But amidst the scarlet downpour, Ruan Mayer's eyes showed inconceivable shock. In the time of this frozen moment, a glint flit past Hunyangzi's eyes. That sort of expression seemingly said that what she had been waiting for was precisely Ruan Mayer's full power strike. Hunyangzi softly fell in front of Ruan Mayer. In one hand she raised Golden Wind. The short saber and the Dragon King dagger stopped in midair. Before the rain of blood fell, the saber chi was being drawn towards the middle without any way to stop, and through it, Husanyang maintained a smooth posture. Even Ruan Mayer with her excellent vision was incapable of seeing this movement. Her figure landed. Hunyangzi finally broke through all the defenses. Her short saber squarely stuck her target's weak belly. The powerful strike in that instant pierced living King Yama's body, making the airflow behind her radiate in all directions with deep cracks. A burst of thick blood suddenly erupted from the Defeat Star's mouth. Truly, this Nyangzi is a bit apologetic. Hunyangzi's voice floated over, distant as if she was not here in this world. Ruan Mayer showed disbelief. Just at this moment, two biting cold chills attacked from the surroundings. Hunyangzi had long been on guard. Two of the water fort's cultivators finally took action. Do not disturb my wife. Before Husanyang could take action, Su Xing already leapt forth. The countless flying swords of the cultivators reflected in the air. Their body techniques were similarly exceptional. In a direct confrontation, they completely were not at a disadvantage. When the battle began, after the 3 Ruan's Water Fort's supercluster cultivator once again launched, Su Xing defeated 2 people with 1 blow. After this, a cultivator's figure already suddenly scuttled out, rolling an intense whirlwind towards him. They planned to continue this unfinished battle. The speed was fast, practically to being like a bolt of black lightning. In terms of speed, Su Xing certainly was not slow. Several dozen units of distance was crossed in practically an instant, and immediately after he arrived, there were still those sharp weapons bearing their fangs. Due to their high speed, although the cultivators did not possess any formidable strength, they nevertheless were capable of attaining considerable physical injury. If they were touched by the claws of his full-speed charge, even a stronger star energy would be inevitably pierced through. It looked like he needed to teach them a lesson. Su Xing curled his lips, turned around, and pointed a finger. The air was filled with a frightening shriek. He attacked with Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. How could the pitiful cultivator's imposing air that only looked fierce be able to catch on to Su Xing's long already concentrated full-power strike? Surprisingly, he did not withstand even a single face-to-face meeting. He was struck by Su Xing's cruel Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. His body unexpectedly was lifted high up and flung far, far away. At the same time, Su Xing's silhouette once again suddenly vanished from where he stood. When he reappeared, he already arrived behind another cultivator in a sneak attack. He turned pale with fright. Su Xing's speed far exceeded this cultivator's calculations, and in his shock, he did not even have the chance to react. His head was seized by a giant hand from behind him. The experience of countless battles allowed Su Xing to pick things up in passing, to fight with a star general. How could these cultivators be his opponent? One hand grabbed this cultivator's head from behind, and suddenly, he hastily ascended into the sky, like a fire arrow. Because the speed was too quick, the course of all of his movements completely could not be seen. His speed made the defenders capable of only powerlessly struggling, putting enormous pressure on him. To move even a finger too extreme difficulty. In no more than an instant, Su Xing already reached several zhang into the sky. Beautifully turning around in the air, one hand once again pressed on the cultivator's cranium. The entire person was thrown down headfirst, violently falling like a meteor. He fell among the other cultivators, making their next attack crumble. Boom! A terrifying noise. Countless waves and fragments of qi shot in all direction. A giant qi wave surprisingly rose more than 1 zhang high, like a real tidal wave, raising a terrible tide. In the blink of an eye, he made everyone's attacks stop. The giant Urgent Sea's white spirit python opened its maw, flicking out its tongue. Living King Yama Wan Mayer at this time also fled Hu Sanyang's attack. Although Hu Nyangzi wanted to kill her, but on these seas, Living King Yama was a heavenly star water general. Several bolts of star magic made Hu Nyangzi's attacks result in failure. Stop! Seeing that the situation was increasingly hopeless, Ruan Mayer promptly shouted. Excuse, little sister, you ought to believe Yuqi's perspective now. Zhang Yuqi smiled and said, Mayer shall inform elder sister as such. Defeat star Ruan Mayer cast another star magic, and the wounds on her body instantly healed. You make it sound so pleasant. Next time, Yuqi shall go seek out little sister Gina 11 for a drink. Zhang Yuqi smiled. Ruan Mayer expressionlessly nodded, glancing at Su Xing. She did not say anything more, immediately following everyone else and flying away from this place. Just what the hell is going on? Su Xing asked. The 3 Ruan's water fort, the Black Turtle territory has very big influence. Zhang Yuqi helplessly said. That's so. I'll tell you when we get back. Zhang Yuqi smiled, again looking at Hu Sanyang. Little sister is too impulsive. If Ruan Mayer actually was enraged, she would not be so easy to sort out. Is she very powerful? Su Xing could not tell. White stripe in the waves. Zhang Yuqi nodded. Living King Yama's nickname is not in vain, but it's best to not see her face. Oh! Hearing her mysterious words, Su Xing somewhat was regretful that he did not use the birth treasure outline on her. Right, Yuchi, do you actually agree to help me? Su Xing returned to this topic. Zhang Yuchi winked. My darling young Su, do not mistrust me, you certainly can make thief's star blow. You still speak of that, do you believe I won't eat you out? Su Xing glared at her. He. Zhang Yuchi covered her smile. Seeing that Su Xing and Husan Yang were somewhat weak from only just emerging from the deep sea, first follow Yuchi back and rest for a bit, right? Yuchi also has a request she wants to ask young Su. No problem. Su Xing nodded, turning his head to look at Husan Yang. What about wife? None. Hunyangzi shook her head. Her tenacious appearance made Su Xing wryly smile. He thought of Lin Mei and wondered how she was right now. Su Xing gazed at the horizon and slightly sighed. This extremely longing expression made Zhang Yuchi and Hunyangzi both somewhat curious. Jade Dragon Snowy Mountain. 1. Bang! Amidst tremendous noise, a blizzard dispersed. An iron-like shadow attack, and the figure of a human-shaped demon beast was like a kite with its string severed. It fell suddenly from the sky, the two weapon wings on its back flapped futilely, yet they could not offer the slightest bit of use. As it fell, the figure of a mighty young girl cold as ice and snow abruptly appeared behind the demon beast, rolling like a violent gale. She spun her spear and stabbed, right into the center of the demon beast's back. Enormous strength thereupon burst. The pitiful demon beast did not even have the chance to react. It suddenly shot away, the crisp sound of bones breaking stirring the air, making one shudder, but not from cold. What a pity that Lin Mei's attack had only just begun. Because Lin Mei's attack was excessively intense, the demon beast's star energy defense covering completely only put up futile resistance. This made Lin Mei's consecutive attacks become endless. The violent spear flung, its body flying up and rolling. A mighty shout already came out of Lin Mei's mouth, and an immense whirlwind suddenly tore upon the demon beast's body, forcing its flying body to stop in the air. Immediately, Lin Mei's killing intent once again descended. Bang bang, the sounds linked into one. Instantly, Lin Mei's spear transformed into a dazzling attack. A terrifying noise resounded in the air, and with a spin, the violent attacks would link together into one. The Arctic Star Serpent spear twinkled with a brilliant red light. The mournful wind filled every inch of space, and in the middle was mixed the demon beast's muffled groans. Suddenly, it snapped in two, and at the same time, it spat out a blue gem. Seeing that demon beast pellet-like gem, Lin Mei's divine intent rolled over. Worthy of majestic star Lin Chong, you honestly are formidable, for the ice jade lizard, to be unexpectedly unable to withstand a single blow. Just at this moment, a soft laugh sounded out. Lin Mei seemed to have long already known. She merely did not speak, clutched her spear and faced the newcomer. The blizzard in the forest whooshed apart, and a cold and graceful young woman walked out. Her complexion was calm, with a sort of indescribable gracefulness, and her hand held a bow and arrow. Seeing her, Lin Mei curled into a smile. Hua Rong. This woman was none other than Hua Wanyue. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.